All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Give me like 1 minute because we got a last minute camera addition to add here. Panzer's the man of the hour right now. And by that, I mean for like 5 more seconds. And then we gotta do that, and we're good. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to your favorite Momentum Mod podcast, the Momentum Mod Team Q&A. My name is Nick, aka Goknak. I'm the project and development lead here with some of my lovely team members to answer some of your burning questions. We could go down the list of everybody that's in the call, introduce yourselves, and then we'll get going on our questions and showcase some pretty cool stuff. So starting with Gordy.
Oh, well, hi, I'm a web developer at Momentum team. I do web stuff mostly. I rewritten a Discord bot we use on our Discord server, and that's mostly it.
Thank you for doing that, by the way. It's
Yeah.
much better now. And then is Mac AFK? We could skip over Mac for now. Mac's here, by the way. Mapper. Awesome.
Mac's
Yeah. Skipping to Panzer.
Hey, I'm Panzer. I make tools. Been working on engine changes, the zoning system, map porting, all kinds of stuff. Just working on anything I can to get O10 out sooner.
And we'll get right into that in just a second, too. And then last but not least.
Hi, I'm Tom, web lead, and doing going to Game UI this month. And where's the other thing? Lumper and stuff. A lot of map porting stuff this month.
Oh yeah.
I'm a bit sleepy. Yeah.
Map porting is a very important step.
It's so complicated.
It's very complicated. There's a lot of moving parts, but we're working on one of the things we're working on for it is just making it as streamlined as possible for people outside of the team, right, to be able to jump in and help out. But yeah, okay. So this one's gonna be a little weird, super weird. We're starting with an asked question today, and I'll read it. And I swear to God,
really rude
their
person.
name is literally Scumbag in our Discord. I did not name this guy Scumbag or anything. Their nickname is literally Scumbag. But so is this ever going to release? We get this a lot. This is our first asked question. We always get this. No, I wanted to take some time to step through my response that I usually give on Discord, but on stream this time. So give me a sec while I pull this up. So we are as open as we can possibly be. Momentum started as an open source project, open source mod, basically. We are closed source in our game code, but everything else that we can try to keep open source, we do, right? Our website, our UI, our map porting tooling, right? Lumper, our bots that we're going to have for Discord, for Twitch, for, like everything that, can be open source is. And I strongly believe in that. Because it's really fun to just be able to contribute to a project like this, right? In some way, right? So even though our game is closed source, which means that we can't really just accept anyone into contributing to it anymore, we still have something called project boards that we still do public planning, right? So we have all of our feature milestones, which again the version number, right, the x.y.z is semantic versioning. They're independent numbers, but they're related in the sense that you kind of bump, if you bump the bigger number like x, right, you set the other ones to 0. So our next feature milestone, right, is O10. That is our next big release. In fact, we're probably not even going to push any 09 stuff unless there's a catastrophic break or anything. We are full steam ahead on O10. And you can see this. This is a completely, I'll even link it in chat here as well. This is completely public. We will always keep this stuff public. We always want to be as open as possible about the work that we're doing and that we have.
You say that, and then there's 2 private boards there.
Don't worry about that. The more private boards are for internal things. So the map porting guidelines and stuff, right? That was just internal progress. And in fact, I think actually that board should have been split up into like cards to add to O10 and then cards to add to like next release and stuff. But the way that this board is laid out, by the way, I'll go from right to left because it's easier that way. So it's a very simple, it's Kanban, but whatever. It's a very simple layout where we have a column of stuff we've already done, stuff that we're doing right now, things that need to be done, and then we do have this last one here for O10 readiness, but I'll get to that in a second. So in our done column, right, this is everything that has been done for like O10, right? Like everything that's been planned on. Some of these cards are huge, huge pieces of internal work, like the replay refactor, the zone refactor, a lot of format changes that aren't pretty, that we can't just show off, right? Like we don't have photos that we can like post in Discord or anything, right? It's all internal because it's just how the game works and stores all of your data. Sorry, that sounds really privacy include. I meant like stores like replays, right? The runs that you do and the runs that you're downloading and things like that, right? Like in the maps that you're downloading and all of that formatting, right? But a lot of this is also just feature work, like, you know, new commands and just other things like that, right? Sometimes it's like kind of a group, like there's all of these bugs that are related to the new timer. So here's a card that like, you know, has all of these bugs. So it's not consistent in the sense that like, oh, every single like piece of work that we ever do is a card. It's just, this is how we track our work. So
there's a lot of stuff on there that's just not tracked.
That
like,
too.
We just didn't really need a card for, or like some of the bigger things, like there's kind of lots of issues that kind of semi-relate to them, but individually they're all, it's like, I don't think we have like Mom TV on there as like a whole card, even though that's like a year's work.
Right. It's like, the way that I prefer cards are really more small units of work, right? Like a pull request or something, right? Like whenever somebody's done with their work, should be able to close a card or multiple, if possible, but ideally at least one card, right? So that's how we've been sort of trying to do this. But there are just with O10 so many huge changes that are hard to just encapsulate. You either have the mega card, right? Like I think there's one for in progress that's for, replace VGUI zoning menu with panorama, for example. Look at all of this, right? This is all of Peenskrieger's work towards like what exactly needs to be added, what's done, you know, the focus bug. Like
the zoning UI is basically everything Bean's worked on for the last year and a half.
Yes, and you can see that, right? Literally,
it's
February
like
2024. You can see the dates that we add them. You can see the dates that we've, you know, edited comments. You can see when we add more stuff. So it is a great way to just keep up to date with what exactly is going on, right? We are trying to be as you know, I know people would rather see a TikTok, see a trailer, see a blog post or something, right? But there's things that we can't really write about because it's not fully done yet. But this is the best way to keep up to date with that. So we still have all of these things in progress. A lot of it, right? Oh, actually, the replay UI, this one you're gonna see very shortly. Spoilers, but we have things in progress that are either like almost like 99% of the way done and just needs some polish because or localization, like whatever, right? Like it's just like very small minor things to get it to done, or it just needs to be reviewed, code review, right? Or something like that, right? Where it's not going to be just merged in, you know, Hail Mary, just fucking send it, right? So there's a lot of things here in progress. Ellis added some, right, for the feedback that we're getting on the zone tooling with some people starting to do map porting, and just, you know, fixing very, very like minor inconveniences all the way to like full on bugs, right? Like we would not want to ship this if people can't fucking zone a map, right? Like that'd be bad. So there are things like this, it's not considered scope creep. This board is effectively feature complete in the sense of like, we're not going to add any new major things that aren't related to like the things that we're working on, if that makes sense. So like, again, the new replay format, Mom TV stuff, right? Like all of those cards are already planned out and either on here, or I guess we do have that other board for Mom TV. But anyway, like we have it planned out and we know exactly what we need to do. It's just a matter of executing it and getting it in and testing it, right? Testing it, making sure it works for not just developer machines, right? That's a huge thing. So in progress, a lot of stuff in progress here. And it's, you know, it's whenever we have free time, some things are dependent on other things, right? Like map porting might require some lumper work, or there's some bugs that are in zone, the zone editor. So maybe there's, you know, feature work that can't be done yet because of that. So a lot of it can be interconnected, but this is just our progress here. 0.10.0 is out when this board is all done. When everything in the in progress to do, and then I'll talk about 0.10.0 readiness in a sec here. All of this is in that done column, right? When all of it's there, it's out. Like 0.10.0 is ready and will be out. That's what this board means, and that's why we keep linking it and showing it to people, because this is our progress. This is it, right? If you're,
Yeah, I should add that everything in progress is like 99% done.
Yes.
A lot of those have become merge requests.
Yes. A lot of this stuff, and like a lot of this stuff is also just eventually coming too. Like there's the network anim states and stuff like that, where it's like we're waiting on one of Rio's PRs, or like I think Slidey's like basing off of that. So like there's things like that where it's just like it's like cascading 99% of like, yeah, so we have this thing that needs reviewed and we're all working on reviewing it, and then we have this thing based on that that's also pretty much done and will need reviewed but is waiting for that to get merged in. So there's a lot of things that are just so close to getting done. And I mean, if you keep an eye on this and check it like weekly, you'll see these numbers go down. In fact, this is we went through a giant purge of this. There was a ton of stuff on here that we thought should have been in 0.10.0, but decided, you know what, let's get 0.10.0 out, do it 0.10.1, 0.10.2, 0.10, you know, get those you know, patch releases, the Z number, right? The third number in the version.
I wish we could have like a velocity or like burn down chart.
Yeah.
But
like, look at the done column, 106 issues completed.
Yes.
The thing is, like, as much as Nick is talking up this board, like the stuff in the done column, there's so much stuff in there that was just never really tracked or too big to really like be a single issue. But we often have like a separate board for that whole thing. Like Momentum TV had its own board, and like a lot of those are just draft issues and stuff. Also, a lot of the like to do and in progress stuff is like relatively small compared. We don't, I think, have. Do we have the multiplayer stuff on here? I guess what I'm saying is this stuff's
no,
a
that's
little
in the Mom TV board, yeah.
Yeah, the main thing we're working on right now is Rio's multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, update lobby system. There you
Okay. Wait, I don't.
Hey,
Oh, I don't have to stream. I just
Nick,
stream
could
with
you
pause.
fix the chat? It's blocking my face.
Oh no! Sorry about that. Yeah.
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 But yeah,
There we
the stuff that's like really big, the Mom TV lobby stuff that's been like mostly the last like 3 months of work from Rio. And that's kind of the main thing holding O10 back. There's a lot of other like useful work we're getting done in the meantime. That's like the biggest single issue, I would say. So I don't know. Like I would take this ball kind of with a pinch of salt, because
it is a good overview of what we need to do. And yes, it's not exact, because there are things that pop up and there are things that are just hard to track, right? Like with work that pops up. So yeah, it is an overview of what's left for 0.10.0. Why did the numbers just decrease to 0? Yay, everything hit 0.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with
That's bizarre. Anyway, good old GitHub. Anyway, so then last but not least, just talking really quick on this, just so we get this boring shit out of the way. I know. The 0.10.0 readiness board, or like this was something that is something to keep in mind, that this is going to be our first public release, technically, right? 0.10.0 is the first time that anyone that has heard about the project can click a button and play it. Without keys, without begging, you just get access, right? Like that's it. So with that in mind, we need to make sure that first player experience is good. Just making sure that defaults for CVARs like sensitivity, volume, things like that are reasonable. Making sure that reasonable default binds as well, like R for restarting because we don't have reload and stuff like that. Like that is just like what this board is, what this column is all about, right? Like there's convars that need to be renamed because they were just temporarily like named some way in development, and they just need to be completely changed to be like a standard format going forward past 0.10.0. It is effectively going to be a config wipe, in the matter that like we are moving. Right now, your config is stored in somewhere in your Steam folder. We want to move that back into the game folder. And with that, we'll allow ourselves to kind of reset a lot of like binds that you might have on the wrong command as well. we're not really going to work on writing a porting guide. I mean, we could probably make like a comment somewhere about what was renamed, and just point people to that if they want to kind of copy over their old configs and stuff like that. But we're ideally hoping that
we
people
are
just
expecting people
to recreate their configs, and that is again, we understand that's frustrating, but it's super necessary because we need this to be good by default, if that makes sense. Like we need it to be good baseline, and that's what this allows us to do. But yeah, I mean, a lot of this, right, like updating the wording on that pop-up that you first get, right, we're going to change it to be like, you know, you have to click to acknowledge it and stuff like that, you know, like just making it a little more in your face about like, hey, this is a playtest, this is not final, like there's going to be cheated times until we get anti-cheat, there's, you know, all this kind of stuff where we're just making sure the first time playing experience is great. And these are really tiny cards, and like also just some internal stuff. Like our replay version right now is like a dev version, but we need to set it to 1 when we actually put. So like this is all just like those last little bits of like what's required for like actually launching 0.10.0, if that makes sense. Because there's like the 0.10.0 like game code, and then there's like, okay, now the back end, right? Like the back end needs to be deployed on like actual production hardware and like all of that, right? So that's what this like column is keeping track of. A lot of these are really, really, really small. Like one of these cards is going to be just like buy a server to like host our backend on, right? Like that's tiny, right? So it takes like 5 seconds and a quick transaction. Anyway, so I just wanted to run through this because I feel like this is not only a good thing to send people in our Discord now, as opposed to like, hey, here, look at this random like collection of like boxes on our GitHub. Like, good luck figuring out or reading, I guess. But like, this is just kind of more of an in-depth view of this because yeah, it's not just this board. We do have other ones. We do have these private, Mom TV and other stuff. But we, you know, like we'll have these boards where we have all of these cards. Like next release are going to be the 0.10x updates, right? Like 0.10.1, 0.10.2, we'll be using this board to just kind of track what we're doing, what people are working on, what should be done for 0.10x. And then, you know, we also have the roadmap that we're going to make after we solidify, right? 0.10. We're going to make our new, 0.11. We might not even do an 0.12. We'll see. Like 0.11, we're likely going to have like save states and more robust, like, map porting tooling and stuff like that. So a lot of the 0.10x, right, updates will kind of start to add a lot of that, but 0.11 will be like the first version that we have all of that. Save state system being kind of the biggest thing here. But yeah, I mean, the main thing to keep in mind really is just that the 0.10 board, once this is empty, 0.10.0 is out, you can play. Everybody can play. So just that's the main thing. And we are, again, entirely working in our free time on all of these issues that have a range of size, right? Some people have some free time to do a couple of small things, and that's okay. Some people have no time at all. That's very common, right? Like it is all volunteer-based work. We're not trying to get your pity or anything. We're just trying to explain that these things are here. This is what we got to do. And we have limited varying amounts of free time to be able to do it. It's not that we take any pleasure in delaying or adding like, ooh, we should add like a bunch. Like we've went through this board multiple times. This is pretty much final minus some minor bugs, right? That might pop up from like zoning and stuff that Ellis is using to just keep track of work that he's doing or something like that, right? Like it is related to what we're working on. It is not a completely irrelevant feature being added for no reason or something like that. So with that said, thank you so much for your patience as we work on all of this stuff for free, for you guys for free. The game will be free. The game will be awesome when we hit 0.10.0 and 1.0 and onwards, right? Like it's going to be awesome. We're making this because we love the modes. We love the game. You hopefully will too, right?
Hey, I just want to add that there's been a lot of scope creep. Like part of the reason why this release is taking so long is there's a lot of unplanned features that we decided to push into 0.10, like Rio's replay refactor that's been really massive. That's having a lot of consequences on like UI, panorama stuff, all kinds of other systems. So like that is a lot of things that we didn't initially anticipate. A lot of like extra tooling work that we're doing for Lumper and the in-game zoning tools and the dev UI entity tools that I'm working on.
That was all planned for 0.10 from the start.
That was? entity tools.
Yeah, we knew we were going to have to do a shitload of tooling for map submission.
I don't know about the.
If anything, it was the amount of work was needed for map submission, like getting a lot of the Mom TV stuff in O10 made a lot of sense just because time lined up better for everyone. I mean, we could have spent less time on Lumper, and we probably would have if Rio stuff was going to take a bit less time. Though it's kind of hard to say, but like,
Well, a lot of the lumper changes that we made are absolutely essential. Like there was a lot of bugs that we had to fix, like the fucking jackfruit texture.
Right,
Yeah.
but a lot of the features and stuff, we could have made Lumper a lot more bare bones, and just not as good to use.
Oh, I
But
see what you mean. Just like a lot of nice to have stuff that we could have.
yeah, I spent a lot of time remaking the UI because the original version was just pretty poor, and I could have left it as it is, and it would have just been a lot worse. But
Yeah,
like, I probably, if Rio stuff was going to take less time, I might have spent less time on that. But ultimately, like, I'd say map submission was always going to take a really, really, really long time. Doing map submission right is just so much work, and so we likely would have map submission probably would have delayed O10 release even if the replay stuff hadn't.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I will comment that it is exactly a balancing act. It is, and something that I've learned too with doing this project, right, is that you can make the bare minimum, but you're just going to make it harder for yourself in the future.
Yeah.
And that is something that that's part of that scope creep of, do we do the replay system now or just have some jank hacked together solution that's just going to be completely torn out? Like the work that's being done for O10.0 would have had to have been done eventually anyway. It's just, what were we comfortable with shipping to people that would have their first time experience on Momentum, right? Like, and is this something that's maintainable, that we, will we have to deal with this system in the meantime with all these people? Hello, Walter. Say hello. Walter's my shield now from criticism. Just kidding. But I fully accept that, the scope increase has, and I wrote this on Reddit as well. I replied to somebody about this. Every time the scope has changed or increased, I guess, it has been for the better of the project, if that makes sense, like the long-term health of the project. We could have released, I guess, we technically did with 087, right, a surf and bunny hop game, right, with like very rudimentary features, and like, yeah, everybody could play it, but when we were, expanding to the other game modes, that starts to change a lot of the core systems around what you need to record, what zones need to be able to do. And that's just not something that you can just half-ass, unfortunately. And that's we really did, like, for a lot of Rio's work, we really did look at, like, should we just kind of like get rid of multiplayer for O10? Like, should we ship, this game that has like kind of more bare bones functionality, but it's out quicker? Is that worthwhile versus just like, how long would it just genuinely take to do, like just revamping the replay system and using networking on top of that? And so it's really just a balancing act. And I think the progress that has been made so far has been worth it. For all of this, I think O10 is going to be the most rock solid release we've had yet, of like just all of the core systems coming together. I mean, I say that now, probably super cut to me dealing with the Q&A after O10.0 of like, I'm sorry, everything's on fire, guys. We're working on it.
Some stuff will break.
Yeah, we're expecting some shit to break. We're getting everyone around the world to be doing stuff on our game, so it's gonna be wild. But like, for the most part, I think a lot of the work that we've been doing has been worthwhile to get that more rock solid, more feature complete, more rock solid. And then, in retrospect, right, the replay refactor was originally going to be 011.0. Now it's just save states as like our main feature for 011, and then anti-cheat, right? Like, those would probably be the two biggest systems.
Ranking is
ranking system.
You've got ranking and a lot of stuff related to ranks. It will take a while.
Yeah, so ranking
but like,
systems.
If it ends up being like, there might be a situation where 011 doesn't exist and we just go to full release. Like it's not clear that there's going to be a good way to split out another milestone release before AC.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's anything.
If Rio's mostly working on AC, whilst like
backwards incompatible or warranting a wipe. is how I've kind of planned out. Like 011, 012, right? We're going to be like, yeah, the replay refactor required a wipe. So it's 011. So we'll, but with how everything is now, yeah, 010 has so many features and a lot of things are additive now and don't really in backwards compatible because it's either a new system or just completely ripping out the old one, like the old save lock system in favor of save states. It's not really like, well, that's why I'm saying it's like the roadmap is really just going to be seeing, because I want to sit down after 010 and just like look at the rest of our boards, the rest of our cards, and gauge with the team what we want to do by 1.0. Really iron that out, and then that dictates our roadmap, right? Like that's what we're going to be working on. And yeah, if that's not another feature version, that's okay. We'll just do 010X forever until we hit 1.0. That could be how it goes. But like if there are bigger features that like we're trying to hit for milestones then and require wiping or would be nice to wipe for, that's what we could use feature milestones for. Yeah. So to reiterate, 010 is happening when all of these cards in the to-do and in progress, and I mean technically also in the readiness, are done, right? Done and in, and like working, right? Bare minimum working, right? Not crashing, not, works on other people's machines. When that happens, we will ping in our Discord with a release date because we'll know it because all of this is done, right? Like that's kind of how this works. We don't set release dates until we know the work for it is done. There's no release date, but there is an ETA of probably sometime this year. Like realistically, like
For
I'll
010?
be mad if this is not released this year.
yeah, like yeah,
I think
like,
everything's
010 will be out
going
this year.
right now.
010 would be out this year, like no doubt. Like I think we're on such a great trajectory right now for the remaining cards that are in this board that like it would be
What?
abysmal. Like something catastrophic would
Yeah,
have
if
to happen.
010's not out this year, I'm done with this project. Like,
Yeah.
we'd have to mismanage stuff so badly that the game
Yeah.
would be not worth working on.
So
Like, it will be out this year.
yeah, it'll be out this year. I just don't know. I can't say what month because again, like we still have these cards to get through, and once they're all in, we'll get an actual.
Can I talk on that a little bit? Just because, again, sorry to keep dismissing the cards, but I just never find that they're actually that accurate. To the main thing right now, once we get Rio's multiplayer stuff fully in, where I think his last PR is currently push, and he's kind of just doing the Git commit organization. Yeah, that's why I tend to now because we've got to do Git stuff nicely. Once that's in, then that's like the last really major big new feature. There's a couple of things we really need to get ironed out for map submission. Once those two things are done, then like we'll be full steam ahead with changelog stuff and release video. We've already started doing quite a bit of that this month. Quite a bit of stuff is written, though the main bit of video recording we want to do for our long form video. I don't know if we're saying this now. We're going to have a short video and a long video. The long video we'll have like commentary and talking about a lot of 10 features. That is going to take a bit of time just to record and cut.
Mm-hmm.
But it shouldn't actually be that long, as long as Traz's got the time for it. And Traz doesn't have time, then I'll do it. So there's like basically like once Rio's big multiplayer thing is in and the last few bits of map submission, we're like, hey Traz, we're really pretty close. Like then we can start thinking about it. We'll probably have an internal date by then.
Mm-hmm.
We might not put that public, but like, I mean, whilst we are really wary of giving like timelines, I'll be really frustrated if once we've got that big Rio stuff in and last stuff, like,
If
I
it's
plan on
not
putting
a
a
month, a month-ish out.
it really shouldn't be more than that, because if it's not
Mhm.
more than that, then it's just like us being slow with like admin tasks and stuff.
Mhm.
And that's work that if one person isn't doing, then ultimately another person can do.
Mhm.
Like if Nick's not writing the change log, or if I'm not finishing up lumper stuff or whatever. I guess lumper is a bit niche. I'm kind of the main active lumper person, but panorama, kind of a lot of the stuff anyone can do, like last minute stuff. But in particular, like the admin stuff of writing up changelog and recording clips for the video is stuff that like there's a big load of team members that can all do. And so if one person isn't getting on with it, then someone else will just do it, basically.
Yeah.
So the main thing right now that like is like just a really fun blocker is Rio's multiplayer stuff is very much Rio's thing. Like the rest of us review it, or I don't tend to review Rio stuff because it takes too long, but like we kind of understand it, but Rio's the one doing the implementation and kind of needs his time for that. But that's pretty close.
Slidey's been helping out with it as well, which has been awesome.
That's true. Slidey's been great. We've had a
appreciate
couple of
Slidey's work on that stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to show off a Slidey thing in a minute as well. A really cool thing that Slidey got. Slidey's great because Slidey just hasn't had that much time for stuff, but is a real expert when it comes to Source Engine stuff.
Yes.
Like I would say, I'm not a Source Engine expert. I'm not even really a C++ person, but and I think maybe Panzer, you've not done a ton of Source stuff, right? Like there's like a lot of Source Engine coding is like
Source mod
right, yeah.
The past.
But doing the kind of funky engines, like Slidey can just fix, like, just jump into like animation system code and do a bunch of stuff there, which is really, really, really valuable. So having Slidey around has been fantastic. But like O10 is starting to feel close. Maybe just kind of for me personally, is because I fixed my bug with Panorama JavaScript content. Which has been the worst bug I've worked on this project before.
Shoutouts
when
to
I
raw
realized
pointers.
It was so stupid. The worst thing is like the thing. There's like we like had a way to serialize the thing that pointer points to that we use all over the place in other places. I should have just been using in the first place, and I just
You live and learn. It's part of the software engineering
Oh, that's
life
just
cycle.
hellish debugging because it was. Oh, it was like inconsistent in fucking V8 API stuff. Oh, it was awful. But getting that done is a lot of bugs have immediately disappeared from Panorama, which is pretty great. So I feel a lot closer to release now that that's done, and that's not hanging over me.
I'd say the biggest things we have left are just finishing up map porting and Rio's Mom TV stuff. Yeah.
What we're sort of aiming to do in terms of map porting, by the way, we were just discussing this in a meeting this afternoon. Is probably by next Q&A, we probably won't have a release date by next Q&A, but hopefully Rio's stuff will be in, and we'll be even further along with video stuff and all that. But we'll spend a lot of time showing off map submission. There's a couple of things we just need to get finished to really. We've had a couple of community people do some map submission, Chaostastic, and Asmodean. A couple of other people have been getting involved with some like early porting stuff, but we need to get a few last minute things organized. In terms of we're gonna have a big Google sheet just for tracking who's porting what, and if some mappers want to port their own map or don't want their map in Momentum, it's really important that we have that tracked, and we just need to finalize that Google sheet. There's a lot of just annoying admin stuff. There's a bug with Lumper that's really bad, and I need to fix, like, starting next week. And we had to just write up some more docs. Once all that's done, map submission will probably... I don't know if we'll do an announcement ping. It might upset people because I think it's the O10 announcement, but we might do a big announcement.
I'll have to figure it out,
If you're interested, be in our Discord, basically. Yes. And that will be the point where people want to start doing map submission. We'll have a lot of guidelines, and... there's quite a lot of tooling to it, and map submission isn't easy. Like, we're not dumbing it down so that anyone can do it, because ultimately we care about the quality of the ports too much to do that. But like, it's still something that you can approach if you're not a mapper.
Approachable, yeah.
And so if you've got like half a brain, well, sorry, I don't mean to like. Actually, this stuff probably really is quite intimidating to get it through the start. But if you've got some scruples and patience. But no prior experience of source mapping stuff, it should still be doable. Getting into map porting should still be something that you can do and get involved with. There's also map reviewing, which is looking at other people's ports and checking stuff's okay. Which we have like a special role for that. You'll get access to the secret map review channel. We're going to start soon. There'll be like a bunch of stuff like that. So hopefully by next month, we'll have that kind of opened up and like fully available to everyone. It is open now if people want to do stuff on the staging backend, but it's all a bit work in progress.
Yeah,
a lot of the maps being submitted there, we're
finding so many things, but it's already so valuable. Yeah. We're finding so many things from it. So it's so nice to get this process just underway. And just a note on that, again, some team members will be porting maps as well, but the more help we have from the community, the more content that could be added for O10.0. So it's not like, oh, we need all of it done for O10.0. It's like, just if you are interested in adding a bunch of content for O10.0 and onwards, this is the process that you would be doing.
The important thing is that once we open the floodgates to porting and open it up to everyone, i.e. at O10, like we need the guidelines to be in a good spot before then, right? Because otherwise we're just going to get loads, especially because people are going to port their favorite maps, like the popular stuff.
Yeah.
And it would be really bad if those ports were not done very well. So like we have to set that kind of initial threshold of quality really pretty high, and that means doing a lot of the documentation stuff and all the tooling stuff. But it is pretty close to being done. In the next month, I'm gonna really pester like Granis and XBman and people to do more map porting stuff, like team members who have a lot of experience doing that but haven't done that much momentum stuff. We need to get those guys involved with it. And but yeah,
Lots
so
of
I mean, tentatively, like we're not giving release or anything, but hopefully a month from now we will be with those two really big things of MomTV networking, multiplayer stuff, Rio's work, and map porting. Hopefully Rio stuff will be in and map porting will be open to everyone in like 4 weeks from now. Might not quite get there, but we'll see. After that point, we probably won't have a release date exactly, but we'll probably know internally like roughly how many weeks we are out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because we could even start adding estimates to the remaining to-dos of like, these are so trivial. This will be like a day. I could do the
a lot of
day or something.
some of them are like 5 minutes of work.
Yes,
like some of them are really, really small,
really simple.
It's
if you
just,
know where to, yep.
The main thing is like we try to focus on work that's blocking other work. So right now doing the porting stuff, which is a shitload of work, and like lumper stuff and Panzers in game tooling and all that. Those take a really long time to do, despite just being like a single card size, right? But we need that's blocking people porting stuff, and we want people to start porting so we can start writing up the guidelines well. So a lot of the stuff we're working on right now are the larger issues. Once we're a bit more like been stable with all that stuff, then a lot of these smaller ones should just fall really fast. Like I was just looking at like the scrollable news container thing, and I think I can do that in like 10 minutes. I need to change the C++ thing, but like, yeah.
But yeah, so just in closing, we are making excellent progress. This is hopefully a good overview of that. Yes, it is going to release. O10 is coming out this year sometime. We'll get an actual date for you when all these cards are done, or roughly done. And then you'll have that in the Discord. We'll try to do people still use Twitter? We'll make a tweet. We should probably move to Blue Sky.
Yeah, we'll do a tweet.
Whatever.
No one uses Blue Sky.
Anyway, we'll put it on our socials and stuff. Make sure that people are aware of it because again, yes, it is still being worked on. It's coming out. We have very passionate people working on this that I'm really happy to work with. And I cannot wait to see everyone's reactions to O10 and onwards, right? It's going to be awesome. So, cool. All right. That's that. We can who wanted to share first? We got some cool stuff to show off. We're not even done.
I'm gonna share some stuff.
I guess
gonna share some stuff.
Let me
and I'm gonna try and beat Stuff Classic 3 for like an hour. And yeah,
this ties in with our actual first asked question that we also always get. Now, what has everyone been up to? So I guess
Thanks,
you guys can talk.
Yeah,
I guess we can get that 1 sec.
What are you showing off, Tom?
I'm doing player models and replay controls.
Oh yeah, I love the player
Hey,
model stuff. Super cool.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Okay, you're going.
Yep.
Right. This was the thing we got in at like the last minute. Player model's not quite finished. There's still bits of animation stuff to do. Vortex making a lot of progress on the last couple of months.
Yes.
But one of the fun things about player models is what's the map with nice lighting? I guess Utopia. And Slidey being around. Slidey did this stuff like in like a day, which is customizable player model colors. We were initially just going to do like the trim. Weapons aren't done, by the way. It's just the base model. We will make weapons do this as well. I'll have the same effect. My game is running like incredibly slowly, even though it's a release build, and I'm not sure why. I think this works in third person, right? Yeah. So
There
again, the weapon. He's doing the stanky leg.
Stanky leg.
Yeah, anims aren't really in, and the weapon mount thing isn't right. Also, it's too small. However,
or too big.
The texture thing.
The biggest handgun known to man.
We saw the deagle.
But yeah,
yeah.
You can set it to some really stupid colors. But yeah, you can do this now. Once lobby stuff is hooked up to MonTV, this will show up in replays, in spec. So what color you say? Basically, it's replacing like the cylinders and stuff. And it will also show up in. Oh, I think now we've
And
got
keep in
compression. I think
mind,
I
the
have to do a
shapes,
run here.
by the way, the shapes will probably make a return in our update when we add cosmetic stuff in the future.
Yeah.
As just a little fun thing that you can have too. So just a throwback. Or maybe that could be a gift that we give playtesters or something. I don't know.
One thing we had to do, we have a transparency fading as well, which is really important for there we go.
Nice.
Here's one I made earlier. This was me like 5 minutes ago. So if I start doing a run, this is like the new Ghost system. Again, animals are a bit wonky, but notice how if I leave the zone like this, it like has some nice fading.
Wait,
It's a
do you
bit.
have to change the alpha to like 255 or something? It should.
Oh, I think the default might be like weird. It doesn't work well with a constant alpha value because doing transparency in graphics is hard, right?
Yeah.
Because like the model, we have this new property alpha dither, which does dithering, which gives you these. How do you pronounce it? Moire, whatever effects.
Patterns. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wait. I think we have a thing where if you currently replays, like the model just stays in the world. Like
Yeah. There
this.
you go. There you
goes,
go.
yeah. But now you can see, so this is the new opacity thing. So like it's a little pixely, like when you look at it closely, but when it's moving around, this works great. Because without this, like you can like see like the back shoulder and stuff, and it just looks horrible. Like the moment it becomes translucent.
Oh yeah, and you sneak peek the replay overlay, by the way, but yeah.
Oh
so,
yeah,
but
yeah, I did.
You'll get to that, but yeah, this is very important. Keep in mind, this is not only replays. This will be online as well. So when you're in online lobbies, other people's ghosts, when you're nearby, just won't be in your way. We really want to make sure, and you can customize like the fade distance and everything. If you want people to show up even further away from you, you can completely customize it. We'll have settings for that. But this is really important just so that you can focus on the run you're doing, even though you might be around replays or other people. Other people in some capacity, live or not.
I don't know why my game is this laggy. I'm sorry. It's a bit awkward to play. Have I got my ghost? Oh, there it is. Fruits released. We have Fruits is in 010. We might change the port a bit. In fact, we definitely will because this version of Fruits.
There he is, running on the ramps.
Running.
That's just how you serve. That's how you just.
Why is my FPS so low? That's really annoying. I'm not in debug, am I?
The dithering is so cool.
Yeah, it's great. So we're gonna change Fruits. We're getting rid of this fucking thing. I tried doing runs on this map, and oh my god, is this annoying? It's essentially RNG.
That needs to be removed. It's terrible.
Yeah, we wanted to try keep it, but like, yeah, it sucks. Okay, okay. Other thing to show off. There's one thing I've not done. The comparisons thing it normally says on the left here. I'm currently rewriting that, and I didn't quite finish it today. If it wasn't for like time zones and me getting my time mixed up, I might have got it done. But that's just turned off. However, new thing. Get name not yet implemented. We will implement get name once get name.
It's the last.
It's going to be the last thing we do in O10. Once get name is implemented, we will just immediately release O10. However, yeah, this is a new replay controls UI. It used to be this like box here that looked like it was draggable but wasn't.
No, it was draggable in VGUI.
Yeah, and then we moved it to panel and just never made it.
Never made it.
Again, this looks kind of laggy as I'm seeking like this. My game is just. It's like I'm in a debug build. I might just try rebuild when you start watching Panzer's thing and just see if it's.
Yeah.
I don't know if C-Maker's done something evil. Oh, this ramp here doesn't have a texture because there's a U with an umlaut in the texture name, and Lumper couldn't handle that. You had to convert Lumper to use like. Yeah, no, it's like Windows 1252 or whatever encoding because. But that's one of the things like why we do need to port stuff is we find stuff like this before O10. But yeah, this UI I'm really chuffed with. It's not quite done. This button looks a bit weird. Yeah, the keybinds are awesome. This is I'm pressing like W and S here. Space starts and stops. Q and E is like moving a single tick. It's been a bit weird. There we go. And yeah, it looks slow, but this is because my build is slow as hell.
Yeah, all good. You're showing off in development stuff, so It's to be expected.
Yeah.
The release,
So yeah, this
again,
has
all of
been
the things we're showing off, like the replays and stuff, will look probably a
Yeah.
little different for actual O10 release, but just keep that in mind. But
I forget. Were we gonna change? It
and
like wiggles when you go back. The spinny guy.
yeah,
I think Ria might have a fix for that. This is like in replay now, which is cool. Like it does work in. This is stored in the replay data.
so
Part of the reason we do all this fancy replay stuff, by the way, is anti-cheat. Like
Yeah.
we just can't do anti-cheat without this. So it seems like
we need to be
it's
able
kind
to
of like a
simulate.
cool feature to have, but the main reason that we're doing replays in such an elaborate way. Oh, this is wrong. I just got my maths wrong. I did some linear interpolation incorrectly or something. These are meant to like take you to the start of each stage, but yeah. But yeah, that's replay controls. It's not quite done. I'll finish it soon.
Yeah. And we'll be in the future. We'll be adding more things like a button to record your run automatically, right? Like using SVR or an internal thing. I'm not sure which we'll go with yet, but yeah, yeah. This is what I was talking about with like the scope increase for the replays are absolutely worth it because now we have like all of this for free. Like we get entity state, we get weapon state, right? Like every single mode just works now until we find edge cases and need to add some properties or something. It's more efficient than demos, but it uses a similar system. If anyone's technically familiar with how demos work, demos record initial entity state and then a bunch of inputs. We kind of do the same thing, but we only record specific entity state because there's things that we don't give a shit about, right? Like demos kind of record everything, whereas we would be just kind of looking at the things that matter, right? So they're way more efficient. We also have compression and much more efficient compression than 2004 source had, right? With Z standard or LZMA, depending on how long your run is. So very, very cool improvements to the system here. And
LZMA is a very old compression algorithm.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
but it's
But
tried and
Source
true.
didn't use
LZMA
it.
is really good.
Yeah.
LZMA is like
They use
classic.
bzip 2 or whatever. Yeah,
which we got rid of for no reason.
Yeah. It's terrible compression compared to modern stuff.
Is it?
Yeah.
bzip 2?
Yeah, I mean,
Is
you
it?
could do better.
Yeah. Oh, this is a bug where the thing is
where you go cockeyed for a bit.
Yeah.
You're kind of like it's like partial like dog question mark mode. Like
there's also the spotlight bug. Yeah, there's the
the
spotlight bug where
spotlights.
for some reason, if you have a ghost in the world, all the spotlights just break.
Yeah, they like segment. It's very odd. Very odd.
I thought it was a lumper bug at first because it seemed like it was just
no,
lumpers.
this is a rendering thing.
I was baffled by lumpers like doing that somehow. But yeah, a couple of things. I'm not quite sure how you're meant to gain. Right-clicking doesn't give me mouse input back if I do this. I am scared of the panorama input handling code. But
yeah, we gotta get that stuff under wrap because it's the same thing with Ellis's work on the zoning tooling.
Yeah, I hate the panel input handling stuff. It's so.
The model looks so much better with PBR.
Yeah.
Especially the helmet.
Yeah, that is the thing. For like 6 months, we had the model in the game files, and it was just the wrong shader.
Yeah, wrong shader. But it was interesting how it still works. But yeah.
Keeping the timer and speed showing. Yeah, I will make this whole bit of UI like collapsible at some point, and I'll just put like a little. I don't know quite how I'll do it. We'll give you like a keybind or something that toggles this. Because you might want to just get rid of the whole thing. I just haven't done that yet.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean by like a production mode where it's like you can hide all of the UI and record. Like we can set something up down the line. Don't worry about it for O10.
Well, I might do it in this VR just because I'm still working on replay controls, but we'll see.
All right. Yeah, if it takes too much time, then we can wait until a production.
Honestly, with banner stuff like this, it usually like if I don't do this now, I won't get it done for like 2 years. Like I've not worked really on panorama very much until like the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Besides the context bug.
Yeah.
I've barely done like pano like implementation and signing stuff in like 2 years because I always have other stuff on. So right now I am just doing pano and I'm just polishing it and I'm doing it well because otherwise it just never gets done. Like we weren't necessarily planning on doing this UI for O10, but then like we've gone to the effort of making this whole new system, and the UI just looked terrible. Where? Okay. Yeah, it seems like a shame not to do it. But there's also just like you have to do this like some of the comparison stuff. Like it wouldn't work in replay as well. It would just it would like make a new panel every time you scrolled or like scrobbled seeked in the replay, and it just it was evil. So sometimes you do just have to rewrite the stuff instead of just leaving it in this like half finished state.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go.
You go at literally breakneck speeds, so it makes sense that
I love
you
these
break your neck.
yeah. This zone's really cool. Does this thing work? Oh my god, it does. We have you see this like picker thing here? This is snapping to the brush, which is cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
It's
should show that
like-
off real quick.
Yeah, look, it snaps to like a brush vertex, which is really neat. So if you wanted to make like,
Should remake the start zone on stage 1.
why do that when I could do this?
Because what the fuck is this?
It's a stage.
This is my
You're
bonus.
just
I don't know if it's
surf
even
ramp.
possible to start
My
this.
bonus. It takes 3 minutes to complete. You have to surf your way back up.
Yeah. Wait, what? Let's go back to the start. Yeah, this. Oh right, yeah. I do start zone. I would delete it. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
What's this? There's another. Oh, there's multiple.
Multiple
what?
regions.
Oh, there's 2 regions.
Nice.
I don't know if you can delete the second one. There might be a bug that prevents you.
Can I just delete the whole thing? There we go. Start zone. Okay, Pog. Bam.
What?
Bam.
It's just a pistol.
Oh, I'm in thingy mode.
You're in box mode. No.
And I'm stuck. I can't. Oh, I have the context.
The bug.
oh,
you
Let's
press-
go.
You
We
press
got the
middle click.
bug.
Middle click.
Middle click. No. Middle click doesn't
That
do
makes
anything.
you do multi-point mode.
Middle click. That's
Mouse
evil.
3.
Okay. But it's not. I can't edit it because. Oh, there we go. Okay, this.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a little
middle
weird.
mouse does it. Oh, there we go.
There
okay.
we go.
Look how cool that is.
So just making it easier. So just to keep in mind here, the zoning tools that we're showing off here are for existing maps that we don't necessarily want to decompile if we can help it. We really don't want people decompiling maps to zone or do anything like that. So these tools are super useful for just kind of jumping into a map and zoning.
That's
They're
weird.
way better than the ones we've had before. The system that we had in 087.
Well, the thing just to point out that if you do want to decompile a map and just zone it in Hammer, that works.
yes,
Because you can just do like Zone Maker, you just run on the BSP. What we don't want you doing is like recompiling the lighting, stuff like that, because at that point we don't want porters making changes that they don't need to make. And so in some cases a ported map might need to like move some trigger around or whatever. Or I guess on Surf Fruits, like I'm pretty sure we can just use the original, like the fixed version of this, the KSF or whatever version of Strawberry that like doesn't have these stupid spinning things that just makes them like regular walls. We'll probably just use that one. But like, you know, you might have some map that has something like this that like we really want to get rid of the fucking spinny guys. So we would, in that case, you'd have to decompile and recompile the whole map because Lumber can't change like an existing brush.
It can be Crab. Map made for momentum should be probably zoned in Hammer because you're already in there, but it can be zoned in game too. It's just like the in-game zoning tooling is really meant for maps that you're not supposed to be really decompiling if you can help it. So it's just an option there for people to make zones without having to go through the arduous process of decompiling.
The spinning walls on Strawberry, like we were kind of like if a spinning thing is like consistent, then we're somewhat inclined to keep it if possible. Mainly just because that's like the initial intention of the mapper. The thing is with Strawberry is it just adds randomness to your run effectively.
Yeah.
In some cases, like on a map that has spinning stuff like right at the start of a linear map, those will get reset at the start of a run in the future.
Yes.
Same way that like you asking Arc, like this is in, right? If I it like wiggles a bit, but like here I'm going backwards and the thing is moving backwards. Like it's synced to the replay. Where the spinny guy is dependent on where I am in the replay. Like each tick of the replay stores this data.
Yes.
So in some cases you might be like, well, spinny stuff allows you to, and because it gets reset on run start, not that doesn't happen currently, but it will in the future. Then having like one cycles and stuff can be a kind of interesting mechanic. But like in reality, like if you try to do runs on Strawberry, right, like if you're trying to go for a good no-fail time, this thing is fucking awful. Because
Mhm.
like you can pretty much always beat the stage, but you just have to like, kind of
Like
go up in
whip
the air.
around, yeah, whip around in the air, and it's
It's
like annoying.
extremely annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Nothing is
old
working.
philosophy
I was
that
trying
I
to
had
stage
was
two.
like I would rather lock them, right? I'd rather have like maps have their rotating bits locked because
Yeah.
you can't really guarantee a good cycle, and that just makes
Yeah.
speedrunning
No, exactly. Yeah.
from somebody that has dealt with random bullshit in speedrunning. It's just not fun. But
Yeah. Well, look at that dithering, beautiful stuff. Oh, there's
beautiful.
two.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like you really have to like just get a bunch of extra height, and you could just lose like seconds doing this.
Yeah.
And so it's
Or just
basically
get really lucky with the rotation, and it's like,
which is like, yeah, no one wants to do that.
yeah.
Party map might need regen triggers. Do they need? Or do you mean removing a regen trigger, or why do,
There's
okay,
a-
cool.
Adding
oh.
ammo limits instead. Yeah, you have to recompile. Sadly,
Yeah, in
I
that
had to
case,
do
yeah.
that
No,
for
if
the
it's
standards.
yeah, you can't just recompile the entity lump, can you? Because entity lumps are brush entities. Yeah, I guess you could keep the lighting, maybe. Nah, I don't think you'd want to. The main thing with decompiling is we'll probably end up doing it quite a bit. What we want to avoid is saying to mappers and porters from the very beginning, yeah, just decompile it, do what you want. Like, if
Yeah.
you are going into decompiling, you've got to be really specific with what you're doing, and you need to be doing. I mean, in some cases, you might just get better lighting, right? Like, if you're recompiling with like higher lighting settings, quite a lot of maps compile with like really stupid light map settings, or you could just, in some cases, increase the light map scale or
Yep.
decrease it, whatever. But like, we don't want that to be the norm. We don't want like visual improvements. Even we don't want to encourage porters to do like, oh yeah, I can make this map look better. No, not your map. Don't do that. If it
Right.
is your map and you're porting your own map, there's a bit more license to do that. Like Panda's been doing with his stuff. But yeah. Okay, should we move on from my stuff and show Panda's then?
Yeah.
We've got quite a bit to show, though.
Was there anything
Well,
else
I
you
should
wanted
just
to
say,
show?
what I'm going to do as the stream goes is we added Classics 3, though it's kind of balked. I'm going to try and compile a build that's actually a release build. And then I really want to see what the end of run looks like on this map because it has 69 stages. So I'm going to try and beat that in the meantime, and maybe we'll come back to my stream a bit later.
Yeah, sounds good.
So,
Well, if it's just on
Yeah.
O10, I could also just play it too. But yeah, absolutely. Okay.
yeah, but you don't have the fun like replay controls thing, so.
I do not.
I
That's true.
want to see the 69 segments and see how bad it is.
Oh,
If it
that's
looks really bad, I'll
true.
have to add a bit of styling to like
Yeah.
only show every other segment or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it would just look ridiculous otherwise. But yeah. The Chaos Static was doing the map, and he couldn't get it to submit, so he gave me the files and I did it, and hence it's like author Dunno. And Grimace, of course. But yeah,
Good
that's
old
me.
Grimace.
My stuff.
But yeah,
Why
awesome work, Tom. And yeah, again, just can't wait to see it in the hands of everybody, especially when we get 69 stage maps like Classics 3 into the game. But yeah, all right, Panzer, you have the floor.
Okay. So what I want to show off today is a new game mode that's like kind of experimental and kind of just something I've been working on the side. Like when I'm either like burnt out or bored or whatever. And it's basically a replacement for Counter-Strike Source Scroll Hop. I want to make a version of that game mode that had more consistent timing mechanics, was like more competition friendly, and also just preserve the difficulty of a lot of the Scroll Hop maps because a lot of those maps are like insanely difficult, and some players like myself really love that difficulty. I love like overcoming the challenges and getting better as a player, rather than just like speedrunning everything. Sometimes speedrunning is fun for defrag. For that mode's fun for speedrunning for me, but for bunny hopping, I like just completing really hard maps, and this mode really kind of exemplifies that. Um, so this mode is kind of like a culmination of three different ideas I've kind of had for replacing scroll hop. One of those ideas was ground friction when you're auto hopping. So if I'm auto hopping and timing my jumps poorly, I'll actually lose speed, even though like I'm auto hopping and like kind of jumping immediately. So this is just kind of there to prevent you from getting excessive amounts of speed like you have in auto hop, and also just making your speed more in line with what you'd get in scroll hop. The other change that I made was buffer jumping, which is a mechanic from Quake, where in order to jump, you have to release, like if I'm jumping here, I have to release jump to jump again. So I press jump, release, and then jump again, and I'll auto hop.
But you can press jump pretty much at any time in the air to buffer that next jump. That's why it's called buffering. Buffer jumping.
Yeah, so yeah, you can press it at any time in the air. As long as you're still holding it when you're on the ground, it will auto hop. But yeah, the third mechanic is like a jump timing penalty. So even though you're buffer jumping, you can time your jumps early. There is a penalty to timing your jumps too early. And currently I have it so if you time your jumps 4 ticks too early, then you get 4 ticks of friction. 3 ticks early, then 3 ticks of friction, etc. Down to like just timing your jumps perfectly and not losing any speed. So I can kind of show that off. So if I buffer my jumps and time my jumps too early, my speed's going to decrease very rapidly. Like I'm getting 4 ticks of friction every time I land here. But if I time my jumps a bit more accurately, then I should keep more of my speed. So like, again, I'm going to mistime my jump here. I go from 250 to 212. And if I time my jump better, go from 250 to like 230 or 250 to again 230. It's hard to be
240.
consistent. That time it was 240.
Mm-hmm.
But
230?
it,
Have you seen a dentist lately?
what's up?
Dentist's favorite time?
Oh, 240?
230.
230.
Oh, 230.
Oh, 240 is it that.
I don't know. I'm just demonstrating this.
No
Anyway,
worries. No worries. You're good.
you get different speed penalties depending on how close your timing was to like when you actually landed. So you want to like time your jump inputs as close to the ground as possible. And in some ways, that's a little bit harder than scroll hop. Like scroll hop, you don't really care about when you send your scroll inputs. It's more about like having it so your plus jump and minus jump line up with the ticks. It wasn't so much about timing, but it did add a lot of difficulty to scroll hop because you'd lose a lot of speed randomly. But in this version of like stamina scroll hop or just like stamina B hop, it's all up to you depending on like how you time your jumps, like how much speed you get preserved. So I'll start showing some gameplay. You'll notice that like my speed's probably gonna go around like 400 to 500 units. That's usually what you'd get when you're playing scroll hop. But you can, in theory, just like get tons and tons of speed if you're timing all your jumps really well. And my game's really loud. 1 sec. That is possible if you're like really locked in and really paying attention to your jump timing, and just nailing all of your jumps.
Is there a reason to enforce the buffered jumps if you have a penalty for holding jump anyway?
Yeah, so the reason why I added buffer jumping is to kind of like indicate to the player that the timing of your jump matters. Because if I just had like normal auto hop where you just like hold down spacebar, it might not be obvious why you're losing speed when you're landing. Whereas like the buffer jumping kind of like indicates to you, oh, you're actually supposed to jump each time.
Is there ever going to be a case where you need to input jumps like really quickly? Like 2 in a row very fast?
Yeah.
Can't really think of any situations because like you have like a ledge like this where you like jump up. Like usually you don't land right away. Like, usually you're kind of just over the platform.
What
I don't
about
know.
ramps? Do you ever want to hold jump like going up a ramp?
You talking about ramp slides or surf ramps?
Ramp slides.
Ramp slides, or just walkable ramps. Is there ever a time that you want to like jump up the ramp? So where buffer jumps become annoying is when you have to do really fast jump inputs, and if you can't do it automatically, then it becomes like pseudo RNG again.
That's kind of the thing with the buffer jumping. You kind of like if you're ramp sliding and you don't know when you're gonna like lose your ramp slide speed, you can kind of just like hold the jump buffer and get like a little bit of a penalty. Or if you're like bunny hopping up a ramp, that like it's not a surf ramp, just like a steep surface, you will still have to time all your jumps.
Have you put a cap on the ground friction? Is it 4 ticks maximum, or were you just saying
Yeah,
earlier that?
right now I have it as 4 max.
Okay.
I can kind of show what that looks like in terms of speed. It's not like super punishing. I kind of picked that value because it's similar to like how fast you'd be going if you're like poorly timing your scroll inputs. So let me show you like what the speed looks like if I'm mistiming all my jumps. So I'm going about like 300 units. Yeah, so you definitely go a bit slower. Whereas before I was going like 500 units when I was timing all my jumps more accurately. I could change that. I think if anything, I would probably make it more punishing, but I kind of like that it's not super punishing because there are some situations where you just can't time your input perfectly. You kind of just have to guess. Like if you're like falling into a fail trigger, you don't know when you're gonna land. So it's good to have a system that like is kind of more like scroll where you can kind of just guess and like get a decent speed recovery just by like holding the button early. But we can probably get into questions while I'm playing. This is a pretty long map.
Yeah, for sure.
Show the gameplay.
No, it's cool. It's it's experimental. So for the people that have just dropped in as well, so this is mainly going to be it would be a B-hop submode, like scroll, right? Would be, but this is more towards just an alternate jumping style, right? With buffered jumping or just timing.
Well, this
it's
is
more rewarding towards because like scroll, you just indiscriminately scroll when you're about to touch the ground. This is very precise with when you're timing your jumps, right?
Yeah.
The question is still just, do scroll players want to play this?
Because that is a part
if we do a mode.
I do want to have that question answered because this is not public right now. This is just like my own dev builds, but I will have this feature available publicly pretty soon, and I would like to get some feedback from especially people from like the scroll hop community.
Yeah.
Because I know there's still like a bunch of people in Counter-Strike Source that are kind of interested in that mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely people that do want scroll hop. The worry is they want scroll hop.
Yeah, like, and someone's asking, can you still scroll as the input, or do you have to kind of do spacebar?
You can actually scroll in this mode.
Okay.
I would just say, like from my experience, my scroll inputs tend to be less accurate in terms of like how I'm timing them before I land. They tend to be like earlier than when I'm using mouse click.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say you'd probably want to use your mouse buttons instead of scroll for this mode if you want to be as fast as possible. But there's nothing inherent about the mechanics that penalize scroll inputs. It's just you actually have to time like your first scroll as you land to get the most speed.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah, we can move on to the first question here. Let me. Oh, 1 second. Sorry. Gonna move this back here 1 second. Okay. Yeah, people can still see it, and we can deal with the questions. All right, cool. All right, who is reading questions? I mean, really
I assume Tom's busy, so I guess I will.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I must.
Tokyo, if that's how you say that name, asks, since Valve made it possible to read players' backpacks in TF2 in the latest SDK, is this something that we will see in Momentum?
So we actually got a similar kind of question last Q&A about this, about like what does the SDK update mean, but in respect to cosmetics, it would be really cool to be able to show off other games' cosmetics, but then would at the same time greatly diminish even having our own, if that makes sense, because then we would just it would promote people going out of our game to go and play and get a cosmetic somewhere else. Yeah, we could.
Even allowed to?
Yeah. The SDK has the read-only stuff. I mean, if we don't yoink that, I mean, we already have a similar thing.
Well, we mount TF2 and have, because we wouldn't be able to distribute the TF2 assets.
Right? No, it'd be mounted just like a TF2 mod would in the current SDK.
I'm not sure Valve would want that.
Well, no, they literally allow it now on the SDK.
Oh,
You can read people's backpack state to get items in your custom TF2 mod if you make one, which is cool.
They have a policy on it in the README now, like it's explicitly called out as something that you can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I mean, the main question still remains of like, what does that do to our cosmetic system? And like, I mean, is it worth? Because like realistically, it would be really cool to be able to show off things that you've gotten in other games. But a lot of people would probably get confused as to where it, like, we would just have to design the system to be able to show that it is from TF2 as this kind of like, you know, exotic item from that. So it is doable, absolutely. And in fact, before the SDK was even updated, we have econ code, like the econ code that they published. We had that already, so they just were able to publish that open source, I guess. So we could have already done it. It was just a question of like, what do we want our cosmetic system to kind of like look like and behave like? Oh, I'm gonna get a cat shoulder massage. What are you doing, Mo?
I have a hot take.
What are you doing?
I've got a hot take, I'm afraid.
Go for it. Oh, well,
I think the like TF2 is not as bad as CS is, but like I think the way Valve have handled cosmetic system in other games has been pretty abhorrent. And Valve don't get enough flack for it. I mean, it's more of an issue with CS:GO, but you look at like how damaging and shitty the CS:GO like gambling scene is. Like, I think Valve deserve an enormous amount of flack for it, and I wouldn't want to support that shit in our game.
Yeah.
I mean, the TF2 loot boxes, it is just gambling, and it's not like it's a system that is designed to make people lose money and exploits, you know, vulnerable patterns in people. And just like like I think TF2 system is not as bad as some of the other system different games that get them, but it was also like a protogenitor to those games. Like and like I think like we've become kind of numb to it, but I genuinely think this cosmetic system that like in general in loads of games are really bad, but really specifically Valve's approach to it has been like incredibly careless and irresponsible, and I don't think Valve take at all enough flack for it. I think they should be seen as being social deviants and just a bit of a shitty company for doing that. And I just think the ethics of it is really, really awful. So yeah.
And it's a fair point.
It's not just,
I think
like,
I think being able to show off your Gibus or whatever is cool, but like I think that just the implications of like what it means for our cosmetic system just makes it really like, well, what's the point of getting your cosmetics if I can just go and buy one in TF2 or go and gamble for it in TF2? Yeah, like I don't know if that would be worthwhile to support. I mean, like people are used to like the TF2 rocket launcher and stuff like that. That I think would be okay, like stock stuff.
Well, we were gonna do that. We were gonna make it so you can see that in first person.
Yeah, and so like that's cool. Like we could do that, but like when it comes to more like paid cosmetics like that, it's just like if we want to have a thriving cosmetic system of our own,
which it's already like
another hot day.
Like we have to get enough cosmetics to make people actually care about cosmetics and momentum.
Right.
That's really, really, really difficult. I'm basically on record as saying I don't think that's possible for us. I think it will.
It's something we'll explore because it is something that I would like to have. Because I think the community will have a lot of talent that would be excellent to just be able to have like a TF2 workshop system where it's like you guys can kind of vote on things that you'd like to see in the game, and then we just add it to the store, right? And when I say store, I mean the in-game cosmetic store that we have planned, where as you beat maps, as you beat challenges, as you just play the game, you get a currency that you can go into the store and buy a cosmetic. There's no loot box, there's nothing. It's just you work towards something that you want. And then of course there's like challenge only cosmetics and stuff like that in the future too, so don't worry about that. But you know, those will be just,
if it works, it'll be great.
But there's just a lot of design to do for it, because
but like if that system does, sorry Nick, sorry I'm interrupting.
It's okay. It's just that system does require a lot of thought being put into it that we haven't put into it yet. because we don't know, do we want multiple player models? If we have player model attachments, how would that work, right? If you have like flags coming off of you or a cape or whatever the fuck we end up doing, like how would that work with other models? Do we only have one model but you can customize it to like hell and back? So it's just really like figuring out kind of the baseline, what would people want to see and like unlock and be able to display, because right now we have colors and trails, which are just a lot, like, you know, you can just have a colored trail and change your colors, and that will always be the case, but like, yeah, more specific cosmetics that can show up in replays and in lobbies are the main premise, right? Like if it's just something like, you can always locally customize your game to have whatever, so you can have your gibbous or whatever locally. It's just like in, you know, in our cosmetic system, we want it to be valuable for your replays and lobbies that you're in. So yeah, it's just something that we need to put more thought into. I think specifically with being able to see CSGO or TF2 items, we're probably not going to allow anything past stock things, like stock TF2 items, just because everybody at least can have them if they have the game, which is just a matter of installing it in our case. So yeah, sorry if you're expecting to be able to just be fully gibbous out, but we aren't a TF2 mod. If we were just a rocket jump mod or something, that would make sense. Yeah, like, yeah, go get stuff from TF2 and, you know, you can use it in our game. But because we're just trying to be our own platform with our own kind of systems and cosmetics, I think, yeah, and I think with what Tom raised about just the, yeah, I'm not a big fan of gambling for things either, if I'm honest.
Personally,
and yeah,
even if we didn't have cosmetics of our own, and even if there was no gambling involved,
Yeah.
I don't really want to see other people's paid cosmetics. Like, I don't care that you spent $300 on a gold
Yeah.
rocket launcher. Like,
Yeah.
fuck off. This is a free game.
Yeah.
Well, any cosmetics
also-
that are
yeah,
visible
yeah.
to other people should be free. Like, if you want to do that locally, that's fine.
Yeah.
But like anything that anyone
Yeah,
else sees should
but,
also
yeah.
be free, in my opinion.
Thing if you're like in TF2 and someone is like decked out with cosmetics, but also just bad, and you're just like, come on. You spent like $1,000.
I mean, that is
on
true.
hats
We are
and you're, like,
missing the
naming
opportunity
heavy.
to clown on a bunch of really shitty runners if we don't allow this. So that would be the only time it'd be acceptable. It'd be like, why the fuck did you pay this much money?
I think like
Can't get top
the
10.
current
Wow.
like the new color customization, the new color customization thing we've added, I think is like genuinely really good, and like
Yeah.
it's just 2 colors, but like having 2 colors is quite. It's like it's any color, right? We might limit it if it gets really obnoxious, but
We'll
like
see.
it seems okay so far.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm a fan of like really simple, straightforward stuff like that. You know, if our cosmetic system can work, then great. I mean, I'd love for it to work. My worry is just, yeah, we can talk about the design of it as much as we like, but it comes down to people actually making the cosmetics, and I'm just, yeah, I don't know. People are good at Blender nowadays. It's kind of easier to learn, but it's still getting stuff that's like of sufficient quality. I'm not sure how many people are actually would submit those. I might be. I'd love to
But
be
that's-
pleasantly surprised there, but I'm still a little skeptical.
That's
But,
why
like,
it's like if we use our workshop for it, it's like you would get the community voting on what they think is quality. And that's the thing. That would be the most important part. Cosmetics aren't for
right,
the
but
team.
you still.
Or right, it's for the community, and if the
Yeah, for
community
sure, but you
wants
still-
really cool stuff, then you know.
But it still requires people put the time into making it. And I just think with art stuff on Momentum in general, we tend to not be that great at keeping artists like engaged with the project, just because most of Momentum is programming work. And like, yeah, if you
Right
know,
now.
after 1.0, if the game's really popular, then yeah, I'm still, yeah,
It's also a very
I think especially you look at how much work has gone into cosmetics, and I bring this up all the time, and I think I've probably really made this point to death at this point. And I'm happy to be like pleasantly surprised if cosmetic stuff works out. What I am genuinely really happy about now, though, is just the new player model stuff is really good. Like, and it's just, I think like we're in a pretty good spot with that. And so regardless of if our like future cosmetic system really comes about, like I think we're in a good spot either way.
it's also a really big difference.
Guy Fieri is
to make like just a hat as opposed
Yeah.
to an entire like official player model. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if there's
That's
an
true.
option that people would make cosmetics, and I think we'll have a lot of people playing the game too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think if it comes down to like quite like hats, I think can work. I think when it comes to like custom weapons, is a bit harder because then like, do you do custom version of like every different weapon? How much do people care? Like besides the knife, I don't know how much people are going to care.
Well,
But then
even in the case of
custom
like
whole player models.
yeah.
Custom player models, I'll eat my hat if we end up getting like a good
It-
number of them.
Yeah, it would
I
be
don't
like
own
ported
any hats,
ones
so I don't
from
think that's
Gmod or some shit, probably. But yeah,
yeah,
I think
what?
realistically,
Right,
yeah,
like,
that's why
they
it's,
totally look horrible. Those are
yeah, like attachments, right? Attachments to the player model are probably a really good first step because that can at
what
least.
is your cat doing?
He's going ham in his tunnel down there. I have a little 3-way tunnel thing. He loves it. Yeah, good old Walter. But yeah, sorry if it's distracting. Anyway, yeah, I think that
cosmetics are
yeah, like I think there would be some stuff that would be really cool to just see, like the ingenuity of people. Like I want to, defraggers to be able to have the Seagaz helmet. Like I think that's so funny. That's so that's
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
perfect
yeah.
like cosmetic to have. Just like literally a little like hat
Yeah.
that has the bars in front of the visor. That's so funny. But like that kind of stuff, just yeah. I mean, I don't want to put anyone on the team onto making that, like as because we got things we need to work on. But the community, right? Like being able to do that and just either workshop or just have some sort of official sort of way to add it in some capacity. That would be awesome because yeah, absolutely. I want people to be able to customize their guy more than just color. And the color is such an awesome first step too. Like it's gonna be so cool because then you can start to really customize like the color with other cosmetics to really like make them pop or something. So I yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said like earlier on in this whole spiel, it is something we need to put significantly more thought into around like the categories and like what would make sense to have on the player model, because again, like you could go the ridiculous route a la Risk of Rain 2, right, where you have everything just fucking attaching to the player model and like you're just a blob, or you kind of go more like strict categories, like you can only have one hat, you can only have one like or like 2 shoulder mount or whatever, right? Like we'll kind of figure it out over time, but it's just something that we need to think about more, and it's not prioritized before 0.10 at all, other than this player model and coloring. That is all we're doing for customization right now, and then we'll eventually, I mean, we even have a tab for it on our main menu. We will have a little like loadout screen that at least we'll move the player visibility or customization stuff there eventually.
To do that, we will still have to have some of those models made first, and so I think if we don't get enough people making models, like we'll kind of know before we launch.
Yeah,
like,
but that's the thing.
Because
Is
it would
like
really
our
suck
main
if you did
our main focus is getting the game out so people can stop saying that we're dead or vaporware or some shit. Once we get to that status, I feel like
but
a
who cares about
lot
the
of people will start to feel like, oh, okay, I can actually tangibly spend hours on a cosmetic and it won't like go into the ether or something. So
yeah, maybe.
I'm optimistic about that because I think, yeah, if you serve a community right, they'll do a lot of things. They'll do a lot of things to help support the platform and the game. So I genuinely want cosmetics, but we'll have to figure out how they go. Anyway, thank you for this question. We'll move on. Cosmetics is a hot topic currently, but yeah, it is something that we're thinking about, and we'll eventually add. But TF2 paid stuff, probably not. So just sorry.
Some kinds of cosmetic
but definitely
things, like textures and particle effects are also like way easier.
Yeah,
like, I think that's a very realistic thing as well.
Yeah, like trails. I could see a bunch of different trails happening, but then that's the like thing of like how obnoxious can trails get? And then like if we have toggles locally anyway for people to turn stuff off, it's like okay, yeah. So it's like you really just want to make sure that you're making reasonable cosmetics. A lot of it will be player attached stuff first and foremost, and then we start looking at like okay, trails, maybe custom trails, custom.
I think just melee weapons are probably the one that people will enjoy the most.
Yeah, melee weapons.
It doesn't even have to be just knives,
No.
right? You can just give them a hammer or something, and
an
it's
axe or
instantly
something.
more
I
exciting.
do really think we
shitty
should.
knife.
Yeah.
We should change how cosmetics work how weapons work in the future. Like,
yeah,
I honestly think we should default you to not having a weapon out, and you have to like choose it because like why do you like? I get some people like having the knife, but like, why? Why have a weapon out in the first place? I guess you can just turn view models off straight away, which is what I do, but at least it shouldn't start with a pistol out. I mean, there's no why. But I don't know. I do think it's quite weird when you like tune into like people streaming for the first time, Momentum for the first time, and they're just like they've got their knife out and they don't really know why they've got it, and they're just like, yeah. If people want it, they're used to it, then sure. But like,
yeah, it's more of
I
that.
think the default should be. I think view model should be off by default, or at least in like weapon in Surf and Beehawk.
Yeah, I mean, there's like we can try to set it up to where you start unarmed and then you have to select the like pistol to equip it, if that makes sense. So like if you don't press any one,
Yeah,
2, 3
yeah, that
key.
was the idea. Yeah, we were gonna make a cosmetic that's just like the null weapon, and that's the default weapon you have out. You just need to change weapon. To...
Yeah, or it's just you spawn holstered or whatever, right? So, but yeah, absolutely, and inspect animations as well, right? Like getting like people are just used to that, so that's why we would have
for sure.
it and not.
We fully
default
get that, like
to
some people like it.
invisible, but we would, I mean, like we could have more settings around what weapons you want to even spawn with and stuff. Like there's the weapon desirability system, but anyway, so we will.
It's so
will
weapon desire. I think.
we
I think it
will-
should be like a default weapon that you can select, and we add a null weapon.
Yeah.
Pretty sure we've disagreed on this already in the past and just forgotten, but yeah.
Well, not a null weapon, but just you spawn holstered or whatever. So yeah, like there's it's like where it's not visible, and then you have to like select the weapon to show weapons again, and then you can like we can put G instead of dropping a weapon. You could holster it, and it just disappears. So I don't. Yeah, like we'll figure it out. But yeah, it's absolutely something that we want to allow people to choose. We're gonna set a realistic
we're not
default.
proposing that like we don't make it really easy to do it either way. Like we understand that people like having the weapon out. That being said, I still think it's weird to have it on by default.
Yeah, it is a leftover from CS of like.
At the very least, I still
at least
think having
a
a
knife.
null weapon is best.
Yeah.
I think having just a no weapon that you just select via the weapon selection makes loads of sense.
Yeah.
Gary's mod fists.
Because
fists. Yeah, good point. Yeah, Gary's.
Yeah, but like something that literally does not have a view model.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because as long as it's something that's extremely easy to switch between it, like any new player can like instantly figure out how to get the knife, like because it just shows up in the weapon selection thing. Like I think it would still make sense to have the default be no weapon, and then we just make it so you can configure the one that you spawn with. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And that'll all be part of the cosmetic tab. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's move on. We got.
No, I think this is a really good discussion actually, though. But yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I really cannot wait to get the cosmetic system and the weapon system revamped as well, and the cosmetic system actually fully implemented. Because I'm really optimistic that there's going to be some really cool things that the community can make. Weapons probably being the biggest model, and then just kind of like attachments as well. I guess.
This is
the gun's
also
functional.
pretty much what our meetings are like. If anyone's curious about what goes on in meetings.
Yep.
Just yelling at each other about upcoming features for 2 hours.
Planned features. But we have like discussion points and then just go back and forth on them. But then go through everyone's updates. It's fun. But cosmetics will be ironing out more. Just not O10O. O10O, you're getting a player model and some colors. That's it. All right.
But also, I don't think cosmetics by 1.0. Like, if someone gets a chance to work on it, then sure. But like, it shouldn't block code 1.0. Like, that's just.
It'll be.
I think that would rightfully annoy people if we were delaying 1.0 to add a cosmetic system.
I don't know how people would be annoyed by that. It's something that we would want to.
Release.
I mean, we could ask the community if they think it's worthwhile to add before 1.0 if we really want to be scientific.
I think we should gauge if we're going to get people to actually make. Like,
If it's delaying with the final leaderboard wipe, I can see people being upset. But otherwise, like the game will be public by then. So I'm not sure it'll matter.
Right, but people
won't be that upset.
Yeah.
No, the game will be public, but it's still unofficial leaderboards, and it's like so it's not that worth grinding for time, stuff like that. Like I still think our absolute priority should be getting leaderboards consistent and AC out.
Yeah.
And there's going to be relatively little that should block that. Maybe the ranking system stuff. So even that, not necessarily, especially because we can retroactively recompute ranks.
Keep in mind that we're going to have not every dev work on those things. and be able
Yeah,
to
no, if
know
we have a dev
exactly
that's
how
got the
things
time for it.
work as well, because we kind of need to be hush hush about it even internally. But like, yeah, for sure. Like I think there will be capacity for things like this, and it's really just gauging it based on like dev interest too. Like if devs want to work on things like that. So yeah, I know I would want to work on it, and I would love to just get the framework in place for a lot of cosmetic stuff. So hell, I'll do it if I get prod set up and everything, and I had nothing to do. I'll do it.
Oh, we'll have plenty for you to do.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But I'm genuinely looking forward to it because again, this is such an awesome platform that we get the chance to really like have communities like demonstrate like or just people in the community demonstrate like creativity, right? Like I don't want it to
If
be so cookie
they
cutter
demonstrate.
like oh this is just CS so get fucked or whatever. Like I'd love to see like this hedgehog stickies, right? Like that shit like that is so cute. Like I'd love stuff like that. So yeah, we'll figure out exactly how it's gonna look, but there will be cosmetics in the future. It's just we gotta figure it out.
There will be cosmetics if people work on cosmetics. We have no guarantee that
Let's
artists are
go
going
to
to
the next
work on
question.
cosmetics.
Yeah, we can move on.
People will work on
I
cosmetics.
agree.
It's a
I agree, but
guarantee.
people will work
I'm
on
happy to be
cosmetics.
proved wrong, but
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair, but I don't think it will even if we put like a framework in place, it won't hold anything up. Like if there's no cosmetics to select yet,
that's for
just
sure.
seeing that there is the opportunity for it and we even advertise like, hey, like if you're seeing this and you don't like that there's not that many stuff, ask artists, right? Like to make
But
stuff.
you need enough people that have the skill and the
Mhm.
time to make cosmetics for it. We really struggle to have cosmetics made for like the base game currently.
Right.
It's taken a
And
very long time for us to get the player model in. Even like we really struggle to even maintain artists' interest in the project because, like, if maybe it works, but there's still the fact of it is if we don't get people doing cosmetics, which is at the very least a possibility, like the whole system just does not work, and it's then just a kind of weird sort of skeleton system. But we talk about this all the time, but I don't know. I just think until we actually get commitment from artists to actually make cosmetics, like we should not be talking about cosmetics as if they're a definite thing. Because I know I'm sorry I go on about this all the time, but I do like this is the ultimate form of feature creep for me because it's a system that we don't need for 1.0 release. It does not need to block 1.0 release. It takes quite a bit of time, and it's really contentious whether it even ends up being like a
that's
usable
fair.
system.
That's fair. I mean, we'll have to gauge it. I would like to get it at least like specced out because if we know what we would want cosmetics for, we could start to ask artists about that. So bare minimum, we'll do that by 1.0. But yeah, it won't block 1.0. I mean, once we get a solid anti-cheat and stuff, I like cosmetics could even come after 1.0 if anti-cheat comes in quick and works really well.
For sure.
So yeah.
No, if I mean I have no issue with like doing it as like hopefully we get the artist to do it. Again, I would like cosmetics to be in it. It is purely about looking at how much art stuff we've managed to get from the last couple of years and then thinking how much work cosmetics is. To put it really bluntly, Ethan doesn't think cosmetics will work. Like other people on the team, artists on the team don't think cosmetics will work because of the workload required. Like it's just I make this point too much, and I know, but there is still just a harsh reality to these things of like some stuff will and won't work.
I guess
Let's just move on to the next question.
We will see.
We're gonna keep disagreeing about this until we die. So
yeah.
Or we actually start and
But yeah, we'll move on to the next one. Cosmetics are a hot topic for us, but we'll figure it out eventually.
I'm sorry for being such a whiner about this, and we've got a lot of other stuff to tell momentum still.
That's true. It's not a priority. It's just something we'll eventually work on, and I'll do it by myself if I need to. That's all I mean with it.
Okay.
Anyway,
this mode is so freaking hard because my game is lagging. I'm getting like 60 FPS because of the screen share. Like,
oh, right.
This is
Yeah,
already
I did a
insanely hard.
whole rebuild, and it's fine now for me.
No, it's because I'm.
Oh, that stage is so long.
Yeah,
oh, is it?
I might either skip this or just use save lock or something. Like I could do this pretty consistently, just not when my FPS is like locked to 60 or whatever. because this mode is all about being like super precise with all of your inputs, and it's just hard to do when you're dropping frames.
Mm.
How are people with 60 hertz monitors going to play this?
I mean, I'm playing it with 60 on a pretty hard map.
I go to.
But you will have a huge advantage if
does.
you're on like a higher refresh rate monitor, and you just have like more responsive hardware.
Sorry, because you need it for like timing it right, or
The timing to get a perfect jump is a 10 millisecond window. So doing
Okay.
that on like a shitty old mouse is going to be very difficult. Or like a 60 hertz monitor. I mean, you're gonna get advantages from in other modes for higher refresh rate monitors. Like this game is very biased for that, like surf and auto hop, and basically most other modes you get a huge advantage for having a high refresh rate monitor.
Next question,
Can't really
Matt.
say block. It's too brutal.
Next question's from I'm Not Triangles, I'm Triple Spike, asking, can Momentum run maps from Titanfall 2 or Black Mesa?
Titanfall 2, no. Their BSP format's pretty different. In fact,
Yeah.
it's not even really documented. Black Mesa, maybe. I think there were some. I think SL was trying to load some. Infra was another source game as well that like some maps work, but there's just some weird changes that just because they're all closed source, it's really hard. Like we were able to add like what was it, Portal 2, CS:GO, like all of that because we got the code for these repositories. We were able to see what the lump changes were between these engines or between these different engine branches. But when it comes to like closed source commercial games, we could try to reverse engineer it, but no.
What does Black Mesa have that people would want to run? Like Half-Life 1 maps
That's the thing.
or something?
I don't think we could port those anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
with
it would
some
have to be
stuff like
something that you load like locally. Like we wouldn't be able to ship those.
Yeah, but
With-
like the
with some maps,
shaders
like-
are different too. Like
yeah. Some like Half-Life 2 maps, for instance, we're pretty chill with porting to Momentum. Maybe it's a bit of a dodgy thing with Valve, but I don't think it's very likely to care. I feel like Black Mesa, maybe. Like, I don't think we can just take a Black Mesa map and just stick it in Momentum. I think we might well get DMCA'd by them, which, I mean, is not unreasonable.
Yeah, I also just don't know what it would. We would have to do a lot of work to even port one as well. I don't. Yeah, again, shaders are different. Like the materials and models and stuff could also be different. Who knows what they did, but it's
Like
just not a priority.
If you want to do like blockouts or just a level geometry, that might be fine. But like, yeah, the whole loading the actual map, like.
But yeah, thank you, Triple Spike, for that question. We'll move on to the next one. Pretty straightforward ones today.
I think we've had this one before, but
Yep.
doesn't hurt to have it again. Build a Big 123 asks, does Momentum Mod run on macOS?
Nope. And probably never will. We just don't have the dev resources to be able to ensure it will.
Supposedly it works through Proton, last I heard, but that's the best it'll ever be.
Okay, cool.
I can't remember who said that, but somebody said that, like in the Momentum Discord, that they play it through Proton. Or maybe they were saying it doesn't work. I don't actually remember, but it might work.
And then, does it work on Linux? Asked in chat by Jaime. Yes, we have a Linux native build even. And my next main build, my next PC build is going to be Linux. So that is guaranteed going to be a native platform. You can also use Proton if shit's broken on our native build, but usually it's pretty good. We have some weird dependency stuff, but I think a lot of that's been resolved. I have to follow.
I've been trying to figure that out. I was just looking at that issue because I'm not at all sure that that's an issue anymore.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
I think it's just completely out of date because it's on the O10 board, but.
Yeah, it was a while ago. It was added a while ago, but I think Linux should be a native platform for sure, and especially with my main OS being Linux soon, it absolutely will be. But yeah, Mac OS, it could be, I guess, if we had like 5 Mac devs that could just like help with. I mean,
Spidey got it working, but like we don't want
ARM build and then like seeing how their translation layers. Yeah, I don't. So no, it does not run on macOS. We don't have the resources. Sorry, but Linux, yes, and Windows, I guess. We'll have Windows builds.
It is genuinely funny with Windows 11 and like how unpopular Microsoft are making it now.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I can't really be bothered to switch just because I find debloat scripts are like good enough, but yeah, I might.
I think
I
we
can't-
should drop Windows support.
That would be pretty cool.
But like it does, I mean, it does really
I'd
seem
be
like
down.
Microsoft are really willing to lose like a big load of their
Momentum players.
customers with like the
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's yeah, it's definitely not my next OS. So, I mean, I might have a partition with it so I can fucking play Fortnite, I guess, or something. Like that'll be it. That'll be the only thing I boot randomly into. Or who knows, maybe cloud streaming will work fine for me on my fiber internet, but yeah. Anyway,
all of the new video games with kernel level anti-cheat you just don't get to play. What a shame.
yeah. All those games, I'm good. I'm good. I mean, there's a, what is it? Are we anti-cheat yet.com or something where it's like it's looking at like what games work on like the Steam Deck and stuff because of like Linux and Proton, just what works. There are some games that, because again, Fortnite could work on Linux. Fucking Tim Sweeney, asshole. You could just click a button to make your stupid easy anti-cheat work on Linux, but no, that would give the Steam Deck too much validation apparently. Fuck you. Anyway, sorry. I'll give a little bit of rage towards that. But I really want competition, except, fuck Linux. Love him. Love the man. Anyway, yeah, I genuinely think that Linux is probably going to become more prominent now within that's always been the case for the past like decade. It's like, oh, the year of the Linux desktop. But
well, it's always
think,
there's always been that meme, but I think it does take Microsoft actually fucking up enough to make people move to Linux, and they're actually doing it. Like,
yeah.
it is, the Windows 11 stuff is really egregious.
Yeah. So it's enough to make me move away from it. So
if like the Steam Deck continues to be a thing, I think that'll I think if people really start moving away from Linux from Windows, I think it's more likely that like Apple caves and starts making low budget stuff, and they're gonna destroy any potential like market share Linux could possibly get.
Yeah.
Like the only way that Linux is going to ever be mainstream in any sense is if like it's actually being shipped by default on commercial devices.
Yeah.
Which is true for the Steam Deck, but it's not true for anything else.
Yeah. And yeah, like more niche laptops, there's like System 76 and Framework and stuff that you can get like pre-installed distros.
But like, why would you want to? If you're buying one of those machines, do you really want your own? Why would you not just custom install it anyway?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. If you're going that deep, but I don't know.
I mean, if I built my machine's Windows, but like I didn't get it installed with Windows because why pay Microsoft? Like,
right. Yeah.
Like there's no. It's like an extra like 80 quid or whatever for Windows when they make basically zero effort to stop Windows piracy because they don't want to stop people pirating Windows.
Yeah, market share dominance. Until you start getting squeezed, they're not going to do anything. But Massgrave continues to exist, so it's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like they could easily be making Windows way harder to pirate. But like, I don't know. I think Linux is always going to be in a tough spot just because it's like there's never going to be like the one and only Linux distro that's like easy to set up and reliable. Like,
yeah, there's good like desktop distro. Like Mint has a good desktop. Like it's a good approachable desktop environment. But
yeah.
But yeah, once
I still just wouldn't want to use like I don't know. I was doing what you call it? What's that one where the dev's a bit weird? Hyperland. Hyperland's really good.
Temple OS? Oh.
No. What?
It's not Linux.
It's not Linux. That's that thing's written in Holy C.
Yeah, the holiest of languages. Anyway, that's enough about OSs. Hopefully that helps Builder Pig. Sorry if all you have is a iPad or something, but hopefully you can get a used Steam Deck or something and enjoy Momentum with a mouse and keyboard on that. Or hopefully you can build a PC and just install your favorite Linux distro on it if you do not want to go Windows. Anyway, moving on.
I'm not triangles, I'm triple spikes back again with asking, can I change tick rate to be higher than 100 for me up?
You can. We offer that
You went in the runs.
SV_tick rate. But yeah, we won't really like put you on the leaderboard if you do a run with it. Like, but you can do it. You can have 128 tick bunny hop. You can have 1,000 tick bunny hop if you want.
Yeah, you can change like gravity. You can change pretty much all the local movement variables. It's just you won't be able to submit any times with them.
Oh, so
I mean,
close. Nice try.
Especially after O10's out, we'll have way more maps. Is the game out? No. Public access beta for everyone soon.
Yes.
But
T-Boo, we spent a lot of time at the beginning of the stream talking about it. I would really recommend catching the VOD and just seeing the update on that. But yeah, it's going to be this year sometime. Tons of stuff that we have to finish up that are pretty much almost finished up. So no ETA yet, but we will ping and announce a release date when all of those things in that board are done.
Remember, when Momentum Dev gives you a time estimate, just multiply it by 3.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
sometime
well,
this
like, I mean, we're being very not doing time estimates now. So.
Yeah, no, I've been good about that. I have stopped giving time estimates.
I might start having one once Rio stuff is in.
Yeah, we might have some.
Tom, what is going on with the end of run menu? What is this?
It's shy.
I don't know. I was gonna look at that. I don't know why. I don't know. It's like Alex's zone menu
before
stuff,
GTA 6. Actually, maybe. I mean, like my internal date
it's still only 010, right? Like
010, yeah, but maybe.
010's public on Steam, but it's still leaderboards getting wiped at 1.0.
Yeah, like it's not fun. Like it's not gonna be as polished as GTA 6, but because it's.
The budget's got a lot.
Yeah, they got a little bit of budget compared to our game.
Like $1 billion or whatever compared to 0.
Yeah, like 1,000, 2,000, but even then it's Anyway, but yeah, I mean timeline wise, probably. I mean, assuming that because they don't have a date, but they're saying they're targeting like fall or something. So if we're
010 was about.
Yeah, I think
010's like relatively like. It would be tempting to say we're like a couple of months out, and that's probably the case, but could be not quite the case.
It just depends on free time. Like my internal date, if not official, just pre warning.
Don't even say it. Don't even say it. People are gonna get it in their heads.
Okay. But it would be, I guess, before GTA 6, and then So, anyway, let's move on. Next question.
I'm just gonna
Ubrush asks, do you have any April Fool's jokes planned?
We have some in the planning book, but we're not going to do one this year because we're just so focused on O10. We don't have time. But we do have one planned for next year. And it's going to be pretty funny. And it might actually, we'll see.
I don't remember what one is it?
It involves a sphere.
Oh, that? Oh,
yeah.
God, that's so much work. It's so much work.
Yeah.
I do want to do it.
I want to do it. I want to do it so bad. It'll be so funny. And after O10 is out, I think people will be lenient for that. But yeah, O10 release is the April Fool's joke. No. It's not ready for April 1st, unfortunately. The 2 days that we have right before. Anyway, yeah, I think you guys will like the next year's April Fools.
By the way, you can only bunny hop on these platforms once. You can't reuse them, so you gotta like really keep your speed and time your jumps really well.
Oh damn! It's a pure skill. Oh, so close. Damn. All right. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Uber Roche.
This map is very sweaty. Like I'm actually sweating. It's hard.
Moving on to the next question.
Triple Spike again asks, is Trick Surf mode like hide and seek from Counter-Strike? Will there be some game modes with weapons like Combat Surf?
So I kind of combined these two because they went back to back, but they're kind of related. So hide and seek is a multiplayer mode where there's, I believe, just somebody bunny hopping around trying to escape somebody that's also bunny hopping around trying to catch them or tag them, I think, with the knife. I haven't really seen it too much, but it's a multiplayer mode that requires synchronizing your game state. Unfortunately, Momentum does not have multiplayer like that. We do not synchronize your entire world state onto the same tick because we don't care if you're trying to shoot each other. We're not trying to make, you aren't doing any combat to each other. This game is mainly about speedrunning modes, right? Like beating maps as fast as possible. While we can still multiplayer sync people, right? Like put you in the same lobby and have, entity state and stuff like display when you're spectating them, which is coming with the networking refactor that Rio's doing. We still are not synchronizing your game state. Like we're not like, oh, both of you are on this map and this door opens at the same time for you. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
Will there be some game modes with weapons? Yes, actually. No combat surf, but yeah, there's quite a couple of modes with weapons. Rocket jump. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Tongue in cheek. The only weapon modes we have: defrag, right? Conk, rocket jump,
Like
sticky
half the
jump.
game modes have weapons, but
Yeah.
they're all like local only.
Yeah, they're usually per. Yeah. But
I feel like every time someone's asking this question, like not to sound like kind of arrogant, but it's like there's quite a lot of like misunderstanding of what Momentum is. Like Momentum is just simply multiplayer in the sense of players synced on like per server, like on the exact same tick, where you can shoot a guy in the head and like the server's confident that you shot the guy in the head because the server's the authority. Momentum does not have that. Will never have that. Yeah, there's no central server. Like it's Momentum is basically a single player game with the multiplayer stuff on top of that.
Yeah.
And that's just fundamentally how it's built from the ground up. There's loads of benefits to it. It means you get lobbies for free over peer-to-peer using Steam networking sockets. You get you can be on different maps and in the same lobby. We can do stuff like voice chat and all that fine in the future. It's just there will just never be combat based and there will never be tricks. Anything that's like reliant on another player doing something and like your run is only valid based on what some other player did at that tick, never happening.
Yeah. Plus, I don't even know how hide and seek would even work. Like how long you last. I like what what's the leaderboard like, and then also what you could cheese that. I don't know. Anyway, we're focusing on speedrunning and accomplishment through speedrunning. So that's our main focus. So that's why it's all mainly, and that's the other thing too. The moment that you do not have other people to play these combat or multiplayer modes with, it is dead. It's dead. I know there's some ways that Trix gets around it with like having like robots throw or like an AI throw or NPC throw a grenade or something. There's ways, but like it's dead content, and it's like, okay, I'd rather have lifelong content that you could just explore at your own pace if you want to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But Resistance, like asking like if there was an SDK, like the game is single player at like a really fundamental level. Like it wouldn't be possible if Momentum had an SDK to just do that because it's too major a change. Like it's too. I mean, yeah, like the idea that you are running the server, like the source engine is like client and server, right? A game in source is single player if and only if you run the single player, and it's multiplayer if it's single player if and only if you run the server. It's multiplayer if the server's somewhere else, right? And that fundamentally distinguishes like single player and multiplayer source games. In that sense, Momentum is single player, just from the base up.
Yeah, like we are on that server client architecture because that's just how source is, like by default. But we are doing a lot of things like sharing memory zones between the two DLLs. There's a lot of things that
all the new event stuff is all we get to skip a load of extra faff because we don't need to worry about serialization between them.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then just to touch back on the first part, TrickSurf specifically is actually more towards it's surf, but I believe 100 tick. Higher AA. I forget the exact settings, but it's a more expressive surf because the goal for trick surf is to do tricks. It's to do basically set paths of triggers. So like imagine like a combat surf map that has a bunch of just arbitrary triggers put around on different ramps, on different spots. And so what you can do is you can create a path through a bunch of triggers just doing a trick. Sometimes it's repeating or doing like a loop, like a multiple, like 3 or 4 times or something. Sometimes it's doing like this really hard, like just really precise, like angling or something like that. The whole point of Trick Surf around that is just you're kind of like on like a playground map, and you can kind of pick and choose what tricks you want to do, and then there's like leaderboards around those tricks as well. And it's really more execution based. It's not really time. I guess like we can have a timer for it, but actually the leaderboards are going to be more towards completion and speed, right? Like how quick.
A lot of
like,
tricks are so hard.
Yeah, and so like completionism is mainly the focus of that, but yeah, it definitely seems way more fun than Combat Surf, because Combat Surf is, can you beat the map? Good, okay, now kill everybody in jail or snipe people as you serve.
Well, no, good Combat Surf, which is genuinely a good mode, is like Surf Great River Extreme, which is skillful and really fun. Like the stuff of like a skill surf map with a jail at the end is just like, yeah, who cares?
Right. No, that's the Combat Surf I played. So sorry, I did not mean to.
No. I used to play that. Like, I like it. As long as you don't play as a fucking no
10x final, resistance, or rebel resistance, stuff like that.
But rebel resistance is kind of like one of those kind of skill surf maps that like
Legends. Oh, Legends, classic.
Legends is so. Legends is like just like RPG DM or whatever. It's such a stupid mode.
It's so good.
Surf Air Arena is the best Combat Surf map.
Not your map.
If you play TF2 Surf Combat Surf.
Oh yeah, Combat Surf there would be more fun too, because it's not
But Trick Surf is like often on Combat Surf maps, like Great River Extreme and Great River, like Skyworld, Japan. I guess I forget what other ones people do. There's not that much to do on 10x. Machine, there's like a million versions of Machine, isn't there? But like,
and it's really nice because we get to use that Combat Surf content, right? Those maps that would otherwise just not be useful to us, and we would be able to have a mode that's still oriented around what can you do, and you don't rely on other people to play it, but you can play Trick Surf right with other people, and like that'll be the nice thing. It's just all optional,
and that'll be really good for hanging out with people. Like if we just on a lobby together doing it on a Trick Surf map, like you can kind of see each other most of the time, and like that will work really well with our multiplayer, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like Trick Surf is something like if we had unlimited time, me and Nick are both really keen on. Like
yes.
Trick Surf is such a cool mode, and it's like I'd love to be able to. I love the idea that like you can have one map that has like hundreds of different tricks on, some of which are genuinely so hard.
Depending on whether or not Game Chaos is more available in the future or more motivated in the future, Trick Surf might be the next mode we add post like 1.0 or whatever, whenever we have the time to add more modes. But it will likely be the very next mode that we add, because I'm very keen on working on it.
Trick Surf requires backend, which makes it way more complicated. So like Trick Surf we definitely do want to do, but it's not like Climb or something where it's basically just game code. Like us adding a new game mode, like say Climb, to our like backend systems is really easy. Like it's genuinely like half an hour's work to like. It's just basically just a big load of enums in different places. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Trick Surf is like whole separate leaderboard system and stuff. So really difficult.
Yeah. But
I don't know if I can beat
more
this.
Involved.
This is requires very good timing.
I'm trying to beat fucking Classics 3 still. This map is not good.
I could definitely do this if I wasn't screen sharing. But
I could switch to Tom if
everyone
switch back if you.
I've been struggling for too long, so maybe
that's fair.
I am on like an incredibly gross-looking stage.
Okay, perfect.
I love the struggle though. This is the kind of game mode I love. It's really sweaty, really hardcore movement.
Yeah. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. No Combat Surf, no HNS, but Trick Surf will be very cool and will be added hopefully pretty soon. Oh my god.
It's so gross.
It's the birthplace
also,
of...
my game is like laggy now.
Oh, wait, is it just Discord shit-ass screen recording that's breaking?
Yeah, it might be that they changed it and made it worse.
Oh, just like the UI. Thank you, Discord. Love you.
It does feel like, they've rolled out just a bunch of
Because
fucking...
they changed the overlay too and automatically enabled it for everybody. I love you, Discord. Thank you for
Oh, did
doing
they?
that. Fucking.
That's crazy.
You might want to go turn that off. That might also be why. It might be like
Where is
secretly
it?
on.
It's in
Fucking
game overlay. No,
yeah.
it's off.
But at least they added a new SDK, even though the game SDK was supposed to be what they just released.
No, they are a bunch of actual fucking idiots. The UI is so bad. I know everyone's going on about how bad the UI is, but it is
it's just so
pitifully bad. Like, it is so baffling that they can ship that. It's just like, how?
like our
Like, I don't
UI
think it's
being
the UI
bad.
designer's fault.
Our
I think
UI
it,
being well, sorry, yeah, I'll let you go. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it feels like a managerial thing. Okay, so I think this map had like pornography on that's been replaced by this, which is a bit of a weird replacement texture, but okay. I have
It's
looked
mild.
at the BSP in Lumpa, and it seems fine. This is one of the parts of where am I going? I've never played this map, by the way. Oh, I did it. New TeamSpeak back. The UI is a milder change. Tries. I disagree. I think like it's yeah, like it's not made Discord unusable. It's just like worse and like really straightforwardly just like badly aligned stuff. I don't know. I just
Anyway, our UI could be bad because we're not UI professionals and like it's not the main thing that we do. But Discord's being like changing it for and like everything's uneven and like did they even
I would
like
love to have more
look?
time to work on our UI. Our UI is like a lot of alignment. I'd say is pretty good, but
Yeah.
I mean it could definitely be better. But it's genuinely like yeah, like I do most of our styling stuff. Oh, that was it. Cool textures. Wow.
Whoa.
Epic.
It's like I'm playing Manifold Garden again.
Jeez, what is this map?
No, I
Classics
agree
3.
that every time UI change, there's the problem. The Discourse one though is just like I don't see anything about it that's like better, and there's a lot of stuff about it that's just clearly worse or just misaligned stuff.
This is what I imagine AI generated surf map would look like.
Yeah,
probably.
Well, it's probably just like some 14-year-old.
Yeah, surf
This is
underscore
Classics
GPT.
3. So I've got the new replay. I suck. New replay controls UI on this branch.
Walter agrees.
And so I wanted a map with a
right
shitload of stages. And this map has 69. Jesus Christ, why is it so laggy? I love the textures. They're just so miscellaneous. Oh, but the lag.
I mean, for like 2004, this was fucking insane.
Oh yeah, this was
This
so
was-
cool. Where am I going?
What did you? What was that?
I think this is salvageable.
I think so.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Walter.
Oh, there we go.
Walter has approached the desk.
Where am I going?
All right, we'll move on to our next question here.
What a cool stage.
It's a long stage for a 69 stage map. Holy fuck.
Yeah, I know, right? Big boy.
Don't eat that. Don't eat that cable. It's not yummy. He's eating my head.
Yeah, I've never played this.
Wait, what is the start platform has no collisions?
What? What was the question? I can't see the stream.
Max AFK. Okay. I got it. MX Crab asks, would a Trackmania like grinding stats with attempts, time spent in session, and other simple per map stats being tracked be a thing that we could do?
Can I take this?
Yes.
Yeah, we're doing this after a 10. Right now our stats are dead. Yeah.
Does Classics 3 have a start zone?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, because I started.
Oh, it works for me.
Summer.
I think you broke something.
I didn't break
I
anything.
don't know.
I just downloaded it.
Yeah? I don't know.
Did
Anyone
you say
some
something
like
about having to fix your zones locally?
No.
This map? No.
Where am I going? Like a fly trying to get out of a
You need to get in
PV mode.
the opening in the top of the box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice, buddy. Sorry.
If you're getting stuck on a specific spot, just use preview mode. Look at where you're supposed to go.
No. Cheating.
It's so useful though.
It's cheating.
No, it's not. It's letting you.
I have Gordy to tell me where to go instead.
Oh, you gotta go up.
Ah! I'm so bad. Where the fuck am I going? Why is this so long? Okay, map stats. Yeah, we do really terrible stat tracking right now. We don't really have a notion of like a game session currently on our back end. We don't know when you start playing a map or not. Which is a bit silly. However, to do that right, we want to be moving away from storing all of that data in Postgres, our database at the time, and have more stuff live in memory. And that gets a little bit complicated. We really want this. Fucking hell, is there a trigger push here? I think it was. Fuck. Great. Nice. Love green brick. We really want to do this after a 10. So we're basically going to have a session system that is probably going to be WebSocket based, and that means we can kind of casually be sending around a lot more messages at a time and do. So yeah, I don't know if we'll track resets. I mean, we could. It's mainly just like a bit of database schema changes and moving some stuff into Redis or Valky or whatever. So we want to do it, but it will probably be a bit because we've got to get the underlying tech there. We've got to do it quite fast because we don't want to slow down like 1.0 stuff with all this.
Right.
My guess would be we'll get the kind of basic session stuff in quite soon, but not necessarily track everything we could, and not necessarily show that much of it on the front end. But I'd really like to get the kind of basic systems in place there, and then what would be amazing would be after 010 if we actually start getting some more contributors to the website repo, because right now it's mostly just me and Gordy. If we were to get more website contributors, that would be quite doable. Keep in mind, like anything that's like the game telling the backend requires game code changes, but like that really shouldn't be that much complicated. In fact, like right now, our HTTP layer in the game. Oh, for God's sake, where am I going? The HTTP layer in the game is a bit rough around the edges, and it's all Steam HTTP based. And I did a little bit of WebSockets in C++ the other day for Lumper sync stuff, and it's really, really easy. And we could hook up WebSockets relatively easily. So in our backend, it's one of the nice things about being on a big city framework like Nest.js. So yes, is the answer. We will do that eventually. I'm not completely sure when, but we'll start designing it all in detail after 010. This system with like having more data in memory, probably in Redis, that in Valky we'll use. We need that for ranking, which is something we really do want for 1.0. Like the way we calculate rank points right now is just not remotely performant enough to ever actually be usable. Like just leaderboards in general and rank stuff just doesn't work properly. And we have some pretty good ideas of how to do that correctly. It's just we have to do it. So yeah, soon. Well, soonish, eventually. We'll start working after 10, basically.
Surf vents. It's just like a tiny little vent.
Yeah.
There's only one. Rip off.
Is that even a vent?
Yeah, let's air
There's
through
two
to the
vents.
other side. Oh, there are two. Okay, that's right. Oh, okay, and there's more to them. Okay.
I love this stuff. Like it all feels like so like prehistoric.
Yeah. And so yes, Surf Classics is a mashup of a bunch of really old
really
surf
bad maps.
Yeah.
That had a head here. That's
I
modern.
think Classics 3. I think these are newer maps.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I think they're newer.
Classics
They're just bad.
1 is a bunch of old maps from like 1.6.
Yeah. Well, 1 and 2 those are both maps that I made, and I just went through Game Banana finding old surf maps and put them together.
Oh, I forgot you did that.
Oh, nice.
But Classics 3, I think somebody just made this whole map.
Oh.
I don't know where these maps came from.
Kind of a false advertising then.
Wait,
they're really classics.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. I know Classics 1 or
Where's
2 or
my
maybe
mouse?
both were like super popular maps, and I think they were just trying to make another popular map by just adding tons of content.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat this point. I'm really bad, and I don't know where I'm going.
Happens.
How many stages do I have left? I have like 60. I'm on stage 53 out of 69. I'm getting there. But I just want to see how the UI looks with.
Wait,
the
why is this stage missing textures and the other one was fine?
Yeah, there's some missing texture issues that
What
like
is up
the
with that
game's
ramp?
not fixing. Yeah, this guy is broken.
There is a run.
Yeah, I'm on a different
backend.
build, so I can't watch it.
You can.
My
click
build
on
has like
it.
replay compression and stuff now. The game won't load it,
I see.
which is silly. But basically, I'm on the build that will soon be out on Steam,
You
or
can
like has code from the
modify-
stuff that will soon be out on Steam. But like, so I won't.
You can modify the Steam build to use your new UI, or you can use
Yeah, I
modify
could, but I don't
run
wanna.
to be loadable in your build.
Yeah, but then I'd have recompile and whatever. If I really want to, but I don't know how far back I even need to go to get something that can load Chaos's run.
I
wanna
stuck
beat it.
on
I'll get
stage
there.
60 on this thing.
Oh, okay. Oh my god, I'm
Yeah,
bad.
stuck
I'm
there.
so bad.
So thank you, Crab, for this question. Yes, map stats are coming down the line. We need a lot of more prod work around storing more things in memory in like a Redis-esque database, so that we can. I mean, we'll see how much we put in there because I'm a little worried, but yeah, we'll see how it kind of all comes together.
Well, we're not doing replication of that, right? So we'll be right.
Yeah, but
We'll be
if
right.
it's all in the same box, I'm a little worried. How much memory Postgres is going to want to use versus Valky with
Yeah, but I mean, if
10,000
Postgres ends up
concurrent.
being,
But
yeah, yeah.
Again, it's just how much we put in there. But yeah, we will have session stats and yeah, attempts. Will be keeping track of all of the replays that you do on a map until I think you leave the map. Just so that you can rewatch failed attempts and then also not flood your hard drive with a bunch of replays. Even with them compressed, a bunch of replays can start to really add up, especially if they weren't really any good run. We'll have more control around pruning runs as well in the future, where if if you only want to keep PBs like we do on our website, like we can allow you to toggle that, or you can keep like the last 5 attempts as opposed to maybe a default of like 20 or something. So we'll have a lot of toggles around that.
We've also, I don't know if you said, we finally got compression now. I say
Yeah.
finally, like it was not even been that long since we've had MomTV in place.
Yeah.
Those are compressed now, where we have quite a fancy. I can't remember exactly what we went for in terms of like how much we compress when, but like I forget what you said. It's like it's sometimes it's LZMA and then Z stood for when it wants something faster, or sorry, for higher compression, or I forget. There's some fancy set of variables we pick.
Yeah,
because we don't want to like slow
get,
down run commission too much.
Do we think we might get local tracking of these stats before it's ever hooked up to anything online?
What stats? Sorry, like
the stats in the question, the original question.
Map stats? No.
So we're not going to ever do it locally.
No, because I mean, I mean, there's some that we could do, but I don't think so.
They're in chat and they're saying they'd be more than happy with just knowing it locally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. But then it's just too. Like they're going to be stored in like a different scheme and everything locally, and then you have to like pick between showing the online stuff or the local stuff, and it's just.
No, it would just be
maybe
backup.
some cases.
So like we would get all of the stats collection in place, and instead of replicating it to Reddit or like uploading it, we just write it out to a JSON file or something.
I think the stats collection would end up quite different, and then it would also then just be doing UI that can like show both or
no, it would
different
just
UI
be
different things. Like
I think what they're asking about
more as like a stopgap until it's like fully online implemented.
I just don't think it's. Well, I don't know. I think it would be a lot of work to do that. I mean, less than doing the online stuff, but like still a lot of work, and it's in closed source code that would just be a kind of stopgap. Like it would become pretty redundant. I don't think we'd want to use that and the online thing because that sounds like a ton of extra code complexity. Like maybe we could like cache some stuff, but it would want to be a cache, not like a kind of.
I mean, it's just a transport question, right? So it's like if we implemented, like imagine implementing it for the online only right now. Instead of doing that last little bit of HTTP post, you write it out to a file. Like that's
but
all
then
that
you
changes.
have to be. But
That's the amount of work, if that makes sense, that would be required. You write it out as opposed to uploading it right now. And then when we actually hook it up to our website, we could either make it a convar or...
But the data structures that we store out to a file would probably end up quite different for what ends up in Postgres. And so then when you have to implement both and do UI, you have to do separate UI for both of them, and you have to spend a lot of time transforming the data in the right way. I mean, it might be possible.
No,
but
we would nuke the local or not read the local anymore.
Right, but you still have to have the capacity. But for one, I'm not remotely interested in doing like a temporary thing that we then delete all the code for, if that's the thing. Like that's just a waste of time.
It wouldn't be deleting all the code. We would delete the write out and read from file. So it's like 2 lines.
Right, but if you are doing that, so you have code to support both, then you have to like...
It wouldn't be supporting both. It would just be supporting the one until the other one's ready, and then we'd switch over to online only.
Yeah, I put the time... it would not... there's not a trivial way to do that in terms of like getting like... I don't think it's as simple as like you can just skip the center backend and just stick it in like a file. I mean...
We would do backend and game stuff at the same time simultaneously anyway. There is no need to make this thing that will just write to a file when we will make a model on the backend first and then it will be implemented in the game. I kinda like there is no need to rush with stats anyway because we will work on stats after open anyway because we want stats and that's the thing we will work on after open. So like I don't see the issue there.
There's no issue. It's just talking about implementation detail. But yeah,
I mean, I think
it's definitely doable.
I can kind of think of ways to do it, but I just don't really see the point. Like,
it's implementing the stat system, but instead of doing the backend first, you would just write it out to a file, and then whenever there's capacity for the backend and prod set up to handle it and stuff.
But you say write it out to a file, but like I don't think this would be a system that's designed to have like the kind of data that the backend would be receiving, or the backend would be storing and sending to the client. Right, but I don't think we're going to do like sort of one big request that like fetches everything. I think we'd get it as a kind of need to have system.
Right.
So I mean, maybe like you end like. I don't think it would be that much work doing the actual file-based thing, but it's also like the backend system's the thing that takes the most time.
Right.
But I don't think we wouldn't want to do the client-side system until we'd designed a whole backend system anyway, right? Like the
classic Orange County, everybody. I got a motorcycle.
Like, I wouldn't want to write the local-based system first and have to refactor the whole data structure. We decided that the backend wanted to do it a different way. So like, yeah, maybe there's time to do some of the game code implementation temporarily, but I don't know. I tend to find like the more we end up like storing in terms of local user data, like it tends to like data that's like really volatile, especially I guess if you are just I don't know, like I wouldn't.
The website should only be viewed as a backup for local data. Like we should never approach systems as a case of like we couldn't do this locally. We could never do this locally.
Runs are stored.
Sorry, no, the backend. The backend comes first. The backend schema is our model. It's not like the local stuff can try and kind of replicate that, but no, the backend fundamentally comes first in our overall schema, not the. I really just disagree, I'm afraid. Like, the way we design the systems is so that they can be stored well on the backend. That's the end goal. It's not like with the new local user cache thing, the user map cache or whatever.
Right.
We do use just for caching some stuff and avoiding a couple of backend calls. Like
more than a couple.
That's still like a little.
When there's thousands of maps, it would be a lot of.
No. I'm talking about the user map cache, which is for like a single map that you look at. I forget exactly when we do a lot of web requests to that because we need to get that data up to date. Like we don't trust the client to have the most recent data, and we don't have some kind of fancy kind of ledger way to kind of only send like partial amounts of that data. Like when you click on a map page in the map selector, we fire off a web request.
Right.
That gets a bunch of user data.
Yeah.
We're going to put a lot more time in the future making that stuff way faster, and we can make it way faster with a mixture of kind of caching stuff and also just not using Prisma.
Yeah.
But But the local user cache there, or the user map cache there, is absolutely not the authority,
Right.
and it's
That's not what I was saying.
constantly. It's just there as a small performance thing, just to
Yes.
avoid, just to have some data before the web request comes back, basically.
Yes.
And it's only there because it was really easy to do. With the when it comes to like accumulate data, which is what the backend is going to be handling when it comes to map sessions and stuff like that, like I don't want to be writing like
It would be the
SQL-like
exact
queries over a C++ struct that the backend's also doing. Like we can, and in some ways maybe the structure's simple enough, but I'm not sure. Like there might well be certain bits of logic, like how we aggregate certain bits of data, that is quite awkward to copy over into C++, and you are literally just copying over logic that's being done in your service logic or database layer on the backend. And I don't know, we could do that, but I'm really not a fan of it. I'd rather just put the focus into the backend work.
Right. What I'm saying is that it would be almost equivalent to that user map cache. In fact, it could even be stored in it because it's user map data. But
no, but that's the point. Is that like when it comes to like total playtime in a game mode, for instance, like
yeah,
we can do that by querying over the user map cache and like aggregating every map that matches. I mean, that's very easy to do in C++, but I'm still not a fan of doing that kind of duplicate logic in a bunch of cases, because then it has to be the same UI that's displaying that stuff, right? And so the data structures need to be really very similar. I mean, it's probably okay, and it might be something we experiment with, but it's still something that like we absolutely wouldn't want to do until we've at least designed the backend systems, because we don't want to have to rewrite a bunch of that when we actually do design the backend system and decide that the user local stuff is in the wrong structure, because the backend absolutely does have the say over what structure that data should be and not the local client.
What I was
So I
saying
don't know,
is
like,
that local should be able to cache everything that online was gives or would be storing. Like it should be, the online should be considered the like source of truth,
yeah,
absolutely, and more of like the authoritative like backup that like
okay,
we will display to other people as well if we ever expose that to other people. But what I'm saying is the game client should be caching almost everything that it can.
but the game client would be caching responses, not the data it sends to the backend.
Yeah, that's
Like
fine.
if you call the backend and the backend says like this is like the total time you have in this game mode or whatever, you can then cache that data that's the backend responded with, and the backend has done those calculations for you. What I don't want to do is do a version that can work local only, which seems to be what was being suggested here as a way to carry over until the backend stuff. I don't want to be doing that logic of figuring out all those stats and having that same logic duplicated in the backend and in the client. I want the backend to do the one that's doing that aggregation, and the client just caches that data that's been received back as like a response. Right? You see, that's where.
Yeah.
So I'm all on board with caching. That's complete caching.
Yeah.
I should
Okay.
caching.
Yeah.
What I don't like is trying to do the local stuff first, which seemed to be what Crab and I think you were sort of suggesting, which would be as a way to have this temporarily before the backend stuff is done. And in that case, it just sounds like you have to basically duplicate a bunch of logic that the backend's going to be doing in C++, which we could do, but we'd want to get rid of in the future anyway. So it really is kind of dead code that just lives for a tiny bit. Like if it seems like it's going to take a really long time until we do this stat stuff, and it's going to be like a way after 1.0, then I can see a sort of case of doing it maybe. But yeah. Sorry, I've gone on a real ramble here, but does that make sense? Like we would need
to talk more about stats as well, because they're kind of not.
Stats are really hard, yeah.
Yeah, we really got to figure out what stats, even in a run, we should have.
The main thing is we need a convenient way to like collect a lot of this data. And I'm just a bit wary of using HTTP for like really, really small messages. But also like, if you do something like WebSocket, it means like you don't need a heartbeat, right? Like if the socket times out, you can like end that session on the back end because the socket timed out. Whilst if you want to do map sessions over HTTP, like the client has to be sending a heartbeat all the time, right? Because it has to say like, oh yeah, I'm still playing this map, because otherwise you don't know when the client stops.
Yeah. But we still need to do some sort of update, because like we just have it be. Yeah, I mean,
right, but the WebSocket stays active, and you'll have like hooks in like the backend layer for when a client disconnects, and when they disconnect, if they time out, whatever, you can then just like look for their active map session and end it. What am I saying? We're talking about the still. I'm not even playing this bloody map that I said I'd need to finish. Sorry, I've got the hiccups.
But yeah, I think we're on the same page. I was just saying that like we could technically go and implement the system in the game without even like needing the backend for it first if we wanted to, because like the data that you send to the backend could just be locally stored, and that's not. So like yeah, we would have to design the system that the backend would like what data is the backend taking in, because once we figure that out, it doesn't matter if the backend takes it or if a file takes it, right? Like that's the whole point. Like it could be done locally first if we wanted to, but yeah, obviously we would want it to be a little more. Yeah, because like you would be directly updating the cache if you did it right, like local first, right? Like that's how it would work. But like, yeah, that's kind of dumb because the cache should just be what online tells you, and then just is local until you get that online data again.
But the thing that online's going to tell you is going to be different from the data you send to online. The backend's going to be doing aggregation and taking a bunch of stats that come in, doing a bunch of stuff on them.
That's what I'm saying. So you would have to locally modify the cache file to be like adding totals and like So
and that's really fine.
Messy. Yeah.
What I don't want to do is do the aggregation on the client, because that's what's messy.
Yeah,
caching is absolutely fine for sure. Though I would really like to get it so, and me and Rio think we can, by the way, like get our stat stuff very performant to the point where it's just fine to query on startup. And Rio I think feels a bit more strongly about this than me even. Like I don't like the data duplication. Like a cache is fine, but it's still not like a source of truth. Like the backend is the source of truth. And like the more caching you introduce,
will always be
like
the source of truth. I'm just saying our game should be not a piece of shit when it's in offline mode. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be just like why is everything question marks? Why is everything 0? Why like it should have some data, but a big banner that's like, hey, you're offline. You know, like that's how because like people will just want to play even if they don't have internet or something. Like, and we should allow that. But obviously not submit anything, and we wouldn't cache any session stat. Like we wouldn't modify the cache or anything. You just have read-only kind of local data.
I just wonder how much. I mean, do you care that much about those stats if you are playing offline? Like, are you likely to be that fussed about this? Given that you're not in a state where you could even submit data to online,
right?
Like, it seems like the stats might be a bit less interesting. I mean, like, I still hope we can get a cache working there, but yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, I mean, these systems, like, we do really need to. The main thing is like deciding what the schema in Redis will look like.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's just going to be like, how much memory we think we have available. Keep in mind what you said before. We should move on from this, but just real quick, what you said before about like not wanting Redis to be taking too much load off Postgres, especially on the same machine, which would be nice if we can, especially because then you have less latency. Is that if we do Redis well, like it takes a massive load off of Postgres.
Yeah.
Like Postgres has to do way, way, way less work and way fewer writes, and Postgres gets to take its time with stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. We got a couple more questions. It's Mac had the dip. All right. I can just read the last ones or wait, Lumia. I think Lumia was reading it. Or
no, you read it.
All right, I got it. Sobug asks, are there maps that might have leaderboards for game modes outside of what they are intended for? I believe they saw inside the Sticky Jump channel a conch map, which we talked about during the meeting. So yes, the new system in 0.10 allows you to designate maps to multiple different modes. That is a new feature added for 0.10 with the new system around zoning and tracks and stuff. So the way that it also works is that maps are by default unranked, like allowed. I believe there's some that like they're obviously hidden. A bunny hop. Yeah, they're hidden leaderboards. By default, like a bunny hop map won't have a surf leaderboard because you're just playing a worse bunny hop mode, right? Like you just have less tick rate and air accelerate and
stuff. And the same for
vice versa.
And vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like there are modes that are just like, that doesn't make sense to duplicate like leaderboards for. But basically, yeah, you have hidden leaderboards on every map and every mode, but a mapper being like, hey, this is a pretty open defrag map, maybe AHOP will like to, do it. And so they can suggest, or like, they can enable it for AHOP. And it can also be unranked as well. So if it's just kind of like a fun challenge that, there can be a leaderboard, but you don't get any rank XP in the game mode. Then yeah, you can just do that and have a leaderboard and have people have fun with the challenge. What the fuck? What is this part of the map? Oh, okay, good spin. Yeah, you can just have a map be unranked for another mode, and that's what happened with that sticky jump. And we're actually going to improve that webhook to be a little more clear that like a map has been added, but it's unranked for a specific game mode. So yeah, we're gonna improve that. But yes, absolutely, there are maps that'll have leaderboards for other modes because it's allowed. So there are jump maps as well, rocket jump and sticky jump maps that cross overlap. I mean, you can technically play any rocket jump map with sticky jump, right? Because you can fucking like air pogo everywhere.
You can beat most maps in sticky jump.
Yeah, so like obviously there's going to be hidden leaderboards for all of that. Off moding won't really be official unless the map was explicitly made for it. In which case, then ranked points will.
Well, no, I think quite a lot of rocket jump, or I guess like quite a lot of sticky jump maps will have unranked leaderboards in rocket jump.
Yeah.
Like wall pogo gremlins tend to enjoy that stuff.
Yeah.
So we can be somewhat liberal with unranked stuff.
Yeah.
But hidden is genuinely like, okay, if you want to be a surf map and rocket jump, go for it, and we'll put you on a leaderboard. It's just no one gives a shit. But like, it'll still be like a valid run that we'll do like anti-cheat for and stuff. Basically, the main thing we changed is like maps are no longer like game mode specific in O10. Or yeah, so maps have leaderboards and leaderboards have game modes. And like for stuff like VQ3 and CPM defrag, like that was absolutely required because we knew we were going to have. There's lots of maps that will be ranked in both. Like loads of those maps are designed for both of those modes.
Yeah. And yeah, just like you're saying, Relort, as well, like, yeah, there's absolutely some maps that deserve to have ranked rocket jump leaderboards, and that's allowed now. So it's really cool, really flexible. And then, yeah, the really fun part of like trying to be like, hey, could I conk on this map? And then like beat it and then see like other people's times, like that'd be really funny. Just kind of like, it is possible, and see the replay with conks and stuff now. So it's all coming together. And it's awesome. But yeah, so hopefully that helps, Sobug. That's just a core part of O10.0. So thank you for the question. And then we got this one kind of last minute when we were setting up. But Squirrel asks, are the surf bonuses going to be tiered and or ranked at all? And I believe they are going to be tiered. Yes. Ranked is questionable because there are some bonuses that are really shit. So
no, it would depend. Like
it depends. Yeah.
If the main track's ranked, it doesn't guarantee the bonus will be ranked.
Yeah.
Like those, like if a bonus is terrible, it won't get ranked. But most bonuses, like I think, are fine.
Yeah.
Like the main thing is going to be like, are people going to enjoy like competing this if they're like grinding a good time?
Yeah.
Or like, is it going to be annoying if someone that's like good at this mode has to like play this because they're trying to get like points on everything? Like, is it just some gimmick thing that has like little skill to it?
Yeah.
But yeah, most stuff will get. If a main map's ranked, then usually the bonus probably will.
So hopefully that answers that, Squirrel. Thank you for the question. That is the last of our asked questions here. There's no more that I see in.
Yeah, someone asked more questions because I want to beat this map before we finish.
Let me see. Oh, okay. Jockey asked a couple. So Jockey asks, will it be worth it to learn Hammer++ to support the game, or will my maps kinda end up in the void? So
yeah, that's worth it.
What was that?
I said, yeah, that's worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you make decent maps and submit them, it doesn't really matter what you make them with, but Hammer++ is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just need to like submit them, get feedback on them. They won't disappear.
Yeah.
Like we said with the unranked system, like some maps that are just not particularly high quality might get added and be unranked in every mode.
Yeah.
Like we expect like effort to be put in, right? Like if there's no like lighting or like walls, I don't know, then it might not get added. And like often people's first time mapping, like people do just need to make like a first kind of bad map just to start getting the hang of things, and then then only after that do they nearly there.
Yeah.
Nearly
Do they get the hang of it? And so yeah, like absolutely, I think learning Hammer plus plus. I mean, if you have access to the game, our Hammer is actually really stable as well. It doesn't have all of the features of Hammer plus plus yet, but like, yeah, I think that it's worthwhile to learn Hammer and contribute. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really want to be like welcoming for newcomers, right? Welcome in both the player and mapper sense. So having a map review process that's not like harsh by design or something, right? Like even if your map gets added as unranked, it's still there. There's still leaderboard. People will play it, right? I mean, they won't like compete a shit ton on it, maybe if it's unranked, but still, you get people playing it and give you feedback, and that's really valuable as a first-time mapper.
And the bar for getting a map ranked is really not that high.
It just has to be fun.
Don't make a shit post map, basically.
Yeah. We're really not trying to like. We're not going to like relegate a bunch of like decent but not amazing maps to being like unranked.
Right.
Like,
yeah. And
most stuff,
Sorry. I was just going to say that most unranked maps could actually eventually become ranked if the community wants it. We really, really want to prevent our maps from going from ranked to unranked, because that will piss a lot of people off. It takes a lot of rank points away, and all the time grinding. So that's the main thing. It's just like we'll be a little more careful around it, but like realistically, like worst case, you get added unranked and just become ranked later if people are like, this is actually a cult classic, I love it, or something. So absolutely. And then should I worry about getting a key to familiarize myself with map porting and such? I don't mind waiting for O10, but figured I'd ask. So the main thing with keys is that, and this is kind of also a hot topic with the team right now, I kind of don't want to generate manual Steam keys. I want to use the rest that we have and just see. So absolutely, if people are interested in map porting, the main problem though is that like it's still not finalized, and if you're not familiar with mapping or map porting, you would probably want to wait for O10 just at that point so that we have the process finally. But like if people already have the game and can help out with map porting, that's better. Or if somebody knows somebody that would be really good at porting and can kind of prove it, or they have ported before, that would be a really good case for using one of the last couple keys that we'll ever generate. So yeah,
look, if we need more keys, we should make more keys. Come on.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing that actually bars us from making more keys. It's really just a matter of like we're so close to O10 that I just want it to to be let's get O10 out.
Look, I think if people are like active in our if people are active in our Discord and seem interested in porting stuff, I think we should definitely wait until we've done our kind of official porting announcement.
Exactly. Yeah.
We were saying we were going to try doing the next couple of months. I absolutely think we should do that before O10 releases. We need maps ported. It takes time.
What's stopping us from doing that announcement? We just got to fix that.
What's stopping us is spreadsheet, lump issue, and better docs. Those three things.
Mm-hmm.
And we really want team members who are experienced porting to port some stuff,
to take some
stuff for the docs.
Yeah.
So Granis has done a ton of CSS to CSGO surf stuff and had a big Google Doc for that already, and we want to pinch what's appropriate from there. Just there's so much esoteric knowledge that goes into map porting, that we just want to. Also, I love the text on this, by the way. Oh my god, my game is just froze for a good second there. But yeah, it's there's also gamer specific stuff. No, I think it's just this map is fucked or something. I don't know. The crowd was just asking about pile of names supporting stuff. We'll give a ping or at least post a lot in the mapping channel soon-ish. The thing we still need to do for that is there's a couple of big bugs with Lumper that I'll get to starting next week. The docs need to be improved a bit, and the spreadsheet. Like we need, if people want to port their own map, they need a place to be able to say that, or they don't want the map and momentum, they need to be able to say that.
Yeah.
And so we'll have a big Google sheet that people can like suggest a comment on, suggest an addition to, that we'll post in our Discord, in Tempest and KSF, maybe like Q3 defrag, I don't know, whatever what server that server's called. We'll try to let people know about that stuff, and then it'd be really good if we could get that out in the next like week or so, just so people have time to put their names down for stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you don't really need to chuck your name in, just like stay aware of stuff. And I do think I can't remember who it was that asked the question, but like if someone is really keen on doing that and like that person has been like around, I think maybe in stream chat, but also like quite active in our Discord recently. Like I really think like we're so close to O10 and like keys matter so little. Like as long as we're not getting bugged by people being like, "Can I have a key to whatever?" Like
no, that's fine.
Most of the time, people that want keys that just want to play the game are kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Like,
Doc, are you the only person who can generate keys, or can anybody who has access to like?
I think I can.
Yeah, no, I think it's a permission on Steamworks, but I think you guys should be able to if you can modify the game settings.
I'm pretty
like
sure I've seen a thing for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one more question that was asked in Q&A live. Also, do we want to like do that one?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm still maybe 5-10 minutes away from beating this map.
Yeah. Okay.
I really want to beat it and see the UI there.
Cool, but yeah. So.
I have it.
Why are you missing the textures?
I think it's a lumper thing. The way textures were removed or something. Yeah, I don't know. I need to look at it at some point. How do I do this?
Could there be support for surf ramps that are made of Bezier curves instead of polygons to smoothen collisions? So the main problem with map collision and geometry is that we would have to effectively rewrite physics, our physics collisions to be able to handle that, right? So it's not a matter of it is possible because we do have access to our physics engine, but it will require so much effort and research into it to see if it's even worth it. We've actually already.
You can actually do that.
What was that?
If you create a surf ramp model in Blender using Bezier curves,
yeah,
the source you can do that.
Like the map file itself isn't going to include a Bezier curve, right? The map, ultimately, is going to be brushes or a mesh.
Yeah, it's still going to be made of polygons.
So yeah.
The worst thing though, like implementing it in the physics engine is one thing. 10 times more effort is making tooling to do that in Hammer.
Yeah,
that's definitely not going to happen. We're not going to implement the physics side of it, but we're definitely not going to implement the tooling side of it. That would be horrendous. That would be awful.
Yeah. Also, our model collision is very consistent. Like, if you want to make ramps in Blender, you can.
Yeah.
Like, most of the time, they're not that popular, it seems like. People tend to prefer ramps to people making Hammer. But, like, if you want to do crazy-looking ramps, okay, I go there. In Blender, you can. Like, you got to get the collision mesh right, but Blender modifiers can be really good for that. I forget, like, you can do combinations of, like, shrink wraps and crunch wraps. No, it's like shrink wrap and thingy and solidify and stuff, and you can get like really good concave collision meshes. Where am I going? I forgot where I was going.
So yeah, and like I mean, we could try to update because that's the nice thing about having Hammer source code is we can try to update Hammer to have it's like the end of Omnific if you've ever gotten there. You gotta like go to the
yeah I saw it.
Mm-hmm. We can try to update Hammer to have more native like tooling like that to make it like how we have the the arch tool or whatever, right? We could have a ramp tool or something. And that would be really cool. But again, it's just like a matter of, are there existing workflows that we could support better, like using Blender and just exporting, like having a one-click import from a blend file or some shit into Hammer? That would be really cool. Drag and drop support. So just like trying to see like what should Hammer, because if Hammer is more just assembling your map as opposed to creating intricate geometry and models, right? Like I don't know if Hammer is going to be that is
Yeah,
shine a light to
yeah.
Blender, and we'd love to support Blender in any official capacity that we can, because hell yeah, Blender. But
The source art is pretty good. Like,
yeah. And
you can
so
get the workflow pretty
no,
fast.
yeah, the workflow there, or just like having it just drag and drop.
Like,
right?
I don't think there's really anything holding people back too much from making models in Blender.
Yeah.
Like, once you have done it a couple of times, like, you can get the workflow pretty fast.
Yeah.
I think mainly people that are making surf maps don't seem to want to do too much. Like, those kind of really weird ramps don't seem to be that popular. I don't know. I'm not a surf mapper, and I don't follow modern surf all that much, but like,
honestly, I think one of the best things we could do is just add support for non-source engine formats for things. It's like that would also really smooth the experience if you could just because Blender can natively export like FBX and stuff.
Yeah.
That would be nice to have. I don't know, and that actually seems relatively reasonable for us to do. But that would be nice. But
the FBX SDK before.
But yeah, no, it's asking in chat, like the question was really using an equation to find the collision with like just a purely mathematical ramp, and the answer is like theoretically maybe,
but we're never
again,
doing that in engine.
Tooling is going to be very difficult to.
Yeah.
Tooling.
If you want to do that, you can do that in Blender using Bezier curves and like modifiers.
No, you
can't. It's possible, can't you?
No, the question is about doing physics collisions on that curve, not the triangle mesh that's created from the curve. Because now all you can do is make a triangle mesh. But if you wanted to have like a mathematically perfect curve, you would have to add custom support.
No, sure, but like, why would you do that anyway? Like,
I don't know, but that's what the question is.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. Yeah.
I beat you.
Congrats.
But yeah, the physics collision code is very specific. If we were writing our own physics collision system, maybe we could look into improvements there. But keep in mind that we also have other game modes that maybe don't use surf ramps as much as well. So, like, to put too much prioritization around like making surf have this like really fancy collision. Like, I'm not even sure how you would activate it other than game mode checking and then just running that more expensive or more like precise, which I would assume would be more expensive than the current kind of was a box tracing or path sweeping, right? Like
whatever IVP does for
yeah.
The other thing is that it's all written in German, so we would need a German to work on.
Really?
Yeah. It's
that's really funny.
Yeah. Good old V physics. Oh man.
The thing is, like, this just doesn't sound very nice for developers to work with anyway, right? Like, I guess like you might think, oh, it's good to kind of iterate fast to design ramps and stuff like that. But like, if you do want to do that, I would try to do Blender and try to do a combination of modifiers that's going to kind of get you ramps generated out of a Bezier curve.
Because I think our collision on models is really solid, like especially with V physics trace. Like, I think it's pretty good.
What is the motivation for this question? Is it a tooling thing, or is it like a more accurate collision detection?
Yeah, it's like a ramp bug fix approach, I would say.
Yeah, but I'm wondering like why did the person who asked the question originally ask the question? What are they looking for?
Yeah, because even if it was more performant, we don't need better performance for this stuff, right? Like that doesn't.
Yeah. Is it like to fix collision bugs, or is it because you think the like tooling would be easier? I'm just curious what the motivation is. Is this like a mapper convenience thing, or like less ramp bugs thing?
Yeah, Bezier curves makes it much easier to create surf ramps. So I don't know if the geometry is going to look the way you want it, because sometimes you want overlapping surfaces.
Okay, collision-wise, we've improved our collision detection significantly.
I don't know if there's that much more we like. It's pretty hard to map Pokemon. Like,
that would be what we would do more. It's
but also
starting to get specialized like collision like.
But like you can make really funky stuff with like really funky collision in Blender or whatever, and it is reliable. Like the issue with some old maps is just that the ramps are made terribly, but like this wouldn't fix that. Like you wouldn't, if you want to fix those maps, like you just remake the ramps right in Hammer probably, rather than like.
And at some
So
point,
I don't see any problem that this is solving, to be honest.
Yeah, we don't have this enabled right now, but at some point we may turn on v-physics traces for everything.
Yeah.
Right now we only have
don't
them
we?
for displacements, but we don't have them for brushes.
Oh,
We're still
right,
using
okay.
the classic C model stuff for brushes.
And that is something Rio
Okay.
was gonna look into as well. They're very interested in that.
So that might also solve even more problems, even with like the older maps.
Okay.
But that's just not enabled yet because I'm guessing it probably has some
Oh
issue.
right, okay.
But it is
I didn't know those.
interesting.
Yeah,
It would
no,
be-
if that can actually
It would be
fix
cool.
these things up, that's awesome.
It would be cool.
Yeah, if
it would be cool to
you
have
can-
more optimized tracing or like collision
You
code.
can do it right now in game. You just need to set the trace v-physics CVAR from 1 to 2, I
Yeah.
think, or from 2 to 1 or something like that. Like it's implemented, it's just not turned on.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not enjoying this. On the last stage.
I think Bezier curves would be useful for racetracks, particularly like the one on Surf Fast Stage 4. I'm trying to think of any other maps that have that.
But again, like no. Bezier curves as a mapping tool, yes, but not something we need to implement as like a physics object type.
Yeah, no, I would.
Yeah.
And like, there's no way we're adding tooling for this in Hammer because we just do not have the dev power for that.
Yeah.
But if it's something you can do in Blender,
But also it's
satisfies that.
Blender just sounds better for that, right? And if you can get it so you can conveniently just be exporting a mesh from Blender to Hammer and it just instantly updates in Hammer.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty practical to work with. Like, this is how modeling works on a lot of engines, right? Like, Source people just don't tend to like doing it that much. But like other engines, like it's much more common to be doing a lot of map geometry in another editor, right? Blender or whatever, and then you stitch stuff together in the level editor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting
performance. We just don't need to care about performance. It's already performant enough. It's been performant enough since 2000.
Oh, I'm so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to try to see where we can get better in performance of like the average. Like, I mean, performance analysis is something that's super important, especially as we have the full engine. To be able to look at like startup optimizations, right? Slidey did a bunch of work around that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's
those
super
are
good to have like performance in our minds of like, yeah, I know we're hitting 300 FPS minimum on like a computer made or built in the last like 10 years, but like we should really be trying to get like consistent performance and just like why not, right? Like why not optimize a lot of old. Oh, true. But I mean, like, if it's like, why, for example, why is map loading still synchronous?
Where am I going?
Why, like, there's things that are like more appealing to us to like change about the engine than maybe things that already work really well right now. Like map loading could just be so much better.
No, and that's something that actually is a quality of life improvement for actual players.
Yeah.
Like how performant like traces are does not really affect players in a meaningful way. Like you might get some small FPS benefits
over what we already have. I should clarify because I mean, obviously ramp bugs are fucking terrible. So like having better tracing and like but we do have our ramp fix that's like way more robust than our 0871 and yeah.
But no, you're totally right that like the really
object.
What's that?
What?
So I'm gonna ban KJR. Does anyone object?
Why?
Kill him.
What did KJR do?
But like I just say, you're totally right that like the performance stuff that we should focus on are the ones that actually impact users, and that's map loading and startup time. However, they're pretty good already.
Startup time is actually really incredible. I'm looking forward to seeing how it impacts when we start adding thousands of maps and like seeing cache loading and stuff. Because right now we just kind of we'll see.
There was somebody who reported the other day that like the game takes forever for them to start up because they have to
mounted
stuff.
Like
that is a little concerning. If like
they were on a hard drive and it could be dying, but I don't want to blame that if it's something.
It's worth looking into. And this is I gotta say this is the reason that we're partnered with P2C. Because they're really good at this stuff.
Yeah.
We just grab Oski and be like, hey, fix this, please.
Well, one of the funniest map loading improvements we can steal from Revo, which is just don't run like reload all materials on every map.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done yet.
We also
still
have a
haven't.
shutdown when you quit a map or change map from a CSM enabled map. It takes like 5 fucking seconds to like
Really
shut down
right.
CSM. It's really fucking weird.
Really?
It's really bad. So again, just map
This sounds
loading,
so
shutdown. There's a lot of systems. Even CSM being implemented is just so bad. Like it's so
Yeah,
poor. Like every graphics programmer that looks at it is like, why the fuck did Valve do this way?
Because they were like desperately trying to patch something into CS:GO,
And
right?
CS:GO, and it's just one. I mean, to be fair, that one guy that probably did it was, yeah, like just doing his
Probably
best.
knew that it was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever, but like, yeah, there's so many places like that we're for sure going to optimize further.
Okay, I made
You
some
got
progress.
it. I believe. We
I'm
won't
gonna
end
do it.
stream until you get it.
Fuck. I need the toilet. No.
You got 2 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
But we really should do the reload all materials thing. Disable that.
Well,
Like,
there was the, what was it? Put it behind or dev or something, just so mappers can.
yeah,
The main
or
thing is
just
when
a
you're
separate
mapping.
launch program, like, or a convar. Like, I think as long as we make it clear in our docs that like you need to do this.
Because it is really important for mappers. Because if you start editing like a texture or something, you do actually want it to reload, and like mappers aren't gonna know that it's not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I think putting it like if you're in developer mode, do it is a good way to do this. I think a lot of members probably have developer turned on.
Maybe, though I still think like just a convar is kind of better anyway.
Well, it's still a convar, but like
yeah, we're just tucking it into developer, but yeah,
I don't enable developer mode when I'm mapping.
I use dev like all the time.
I do.
I use dev all the time, but I don't want that thing on.
Either way, we could always just document it on our docs. Like, hey, if you're mapping, make sure this dev or whatever convar. If we do convar,
yeah, I think the important thing is that it's not on.
Where's my go?
Players.
Yeah.
It's like there's no. The current system, if we have it on just because you might be a mapper and you might want to reload materials on map load, like it's silly. Like it's like a couple of seconds or so of loading time or something. Like I said,
there is Tube's point as well. The fucking overlap like window textures that TF2 and HL2 use won't get reloaded if it's like cached.
You can probably fix that though.
Yeah, I kind of wanna edit. We have control over the Half-Life 2 assets we pack, so we should probably just fucking rename those in the Half-Life 2 one, because it's really annoying that like TF2 uses the same texture.
I feel like there's quite a lot of overlap of like other games as well, isn't there?
Maybe CSS as well, yeah, because it's all the same like engine.
There's some really weird ones I saw when doing the pack file mounted asset removal and lumper. Like I was seeing a lot of reuse names.
Yeah.
Where am I going?
There's got to be some way to like check the hash of the like the current material that is actually being pointed to by the file system at the moment, and then like determine whether it's the same as the one that's already loaded, and only reload it if it's different.
Well, if they're named the same, then
yeah, but if they would have different hashes because they got different contents, and like if we start storing that or calculating it at some point, or we just remember where we got the texture from before and check to see if the search path is the same this time, and if it isn't, then reload it.
That does seem like a lot of work, but we'll see how we want to improve file mounting, and it'll be nice to start shipping Polyhaven and stuff. So it's like hopefully people aren't even using Half-Life 2 textures anymore going forward.
Yeah, people will still use them. They'll still use them.
Yeah, I use them.
But I mean, it'll be nice to like at least, and then also maybe even like deflate compress or like just get the Half-Life 2 VPK to be like minimal, right? Like get rid of all the extra crufts, repack it, compress it, and then just finally have that be the final one.
Because it's probably still got a bunch of Half-Life 2 sounds.
Yeah,
and stuff, right?
There's a ton of shit.
Well, we also want to do that tool for like any source VPK that tries to just find materials and models that seem important. I guess maybe sounds. I expect we'll get a lot of people asking for that like straight after a 10. Like that's going to be a big frustration for people. Is just the way we strip out source assets. It's very annoying that we have to do it, and it's going to annoy a lot of people. Hopefully, those people are intelligent enough to understand it's not our fault, but some of them won't. But yeah, I mean that tool. Yeah.
But anyway, performance is definitely our concern. Like, it'll be really nice if we could get like a lot of pain points acknowledged, and then like ask the community if there are more, to see if there are more like improvements we can start making.
He's forgetting to do that.
And yeah, like that could be something that we start to do maybe towards a 1.0 polish push thing of like, are there still any pain points with our, with all of our systems and like all of these hundreds, if not thousands of maps that we'll have by then. Like just kind of figuring out
generally pretty good.
But we'll see. We'll see how good it stays, and if anything starts to deteriorate, I'm sure we'll have to do some smart stuff later on, because right now we're just kind of we're assuming, there's only 20 maps, like this call's not expensive or whatever. Like there's gonna be so much.
Even so,
yeah, there were a lot of our new map stuff is just
hey!
and a run through.
Oh
diff
my
sign.
god,
Diff
diff
sign.
What?
Is that just your
Wait,
branch?
Yeah, my end of run's completely broken because
okay.
I'm
I was about to
refactoring a
say
bunch
that
of...
your modules break again.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That would be really funny.
Yeah,
Like an
just-
hour and a half run, and I just Panorama's still broken.
Yeah.
Okay, how did it look? Oh my god, it's so fucked up.
2021, 37.
It looks like Morse code.
Oh.
That's really cool. Okay,
Wait,
this is really helpful to have.
What are those, like individual stages or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see.
Oh my god, they're fucking tiny.
It's
yeah.
very
So
strong.
what I'm gonna do is
should we
stuff that I'm gonna figure out stuff that like if the bar window it. What do
like
you mean?
as in like you have like you can see like 30 minutes to the left and 30 minutes to the right, and it scrolls as it plays. If that makes sense, like make it a horizontal scrollable panel.
Horizontal.
Horizontal.
Make it horizontal.
Yeah, make it horizontal.
I'm not a fan of that. I think I just like calculate how long that each label. No, I know the width of each of these little panels anyway. So I think if the width is pretty small, I just don't make the label. And then the one thing that is happening here is sometimes they're so small that you don't see any panel at all. It's just margin, which is quite funny. So
yeah, that's true.
quite hard.
Yeah, because it's all squeezed into the same one. Yeah, I don't know. Horizontal is my vote.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure the best way to do that. I mean, I don't have to make a panel there even.
Well,
honestly,
it
I
doesn't
don't think
need
it
to
looks...
all be viewable. I mean, this is an hour-long run. Like it being straight up viewable is like realistically, like if it's just too crammed, I genuinely think just spacing it out and making it like a max width and then making it horizontal, scalable, or scrollable.
I just don't like the fact that this is already kind of scrolly progress bar sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think scrolling is just a bit weird.
I think it's nicer to just not show the parts that are too short, because like you can always reach them by like the buttons, right?
Yeah, like this progress bar, like these bits here aren't part of the progress bar. They're just fake bits behind it. I think I'll just let them be. I might apply a class that makes the margin like even smaller, but then just kind of leave this as is, and then the text will just be if the width of this panel is lower than just some constant, I don't know, 24 pixels or something, I just don't make the label.
Yeah. Okay. And then is the timing looking good where it's the hour? Because we can, I think, was our cap going to be like 6 hours? So I don't know how
this
wide
this is because I do want to add a tiny bit more margin here.
Yeah.
If it gets really large, it will shrink.
Oh,
it
that's
has
true.
overflow shrink. But I still basically these are just constants. I really don't want stuff to get shoved around as stuff changes. So replay. Wait, what? Was that doing it? Oh, it is getting shrunk. It's getting shrunk anyway. Honestly, the shrinking's maybe not that bad. I should just make sure there's a decent margin. Yeah, okay, I can work. This is all quite easy to fix up.
Nice. Now you have, now you have some.
Yeah, well, this is why I was asking for this map to be done, because this is really helpful to test.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, now it's
you
just
are like this, you
21.
always-
Da 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 21.
These are just just all ellipses. Oh, there's like a pretty little hover effect like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, fun. Yeah, I'm really happy with this bar.
Very cool. All right, last question. Tom, are you a Sigma male?
No. What? No.
All right, there's your answer, Killer Sands.
Yeah.
All right, that's where we'll end it. Thank you all for watching. This was really fun to show off, and you just saw another card that we're going to add to the Otano. I'm just kidding. It's part of the same one. No, it's just that's what I'm saying. It's like we test,
this is
we
like
find the
just
weird edge
unfinished.
cases, we fix a little bit, but this isn't delaying Oteno. This is just part of the work for Oteno.
Oh, one thing. There's a really weird edge case that I'm already handling quite well. Like that edge case of 1,000,000 stages. Like I already put a ton of time into showing well in the website. Let me just switch to change screens here. It looks a little bit weird. Like this guy's very tall.
Very tall.
Why is he so tall? But yeah, like it works.
Nice.
Wait, where's my run? Oh, my run didn't submit because I'm on a fucked up branch with replay compression.
Nice.
I mean, I said we could like share static asserts between TypeScript and C++. There's like a static assert for like the size of the header, but I think it's just changed slightly now, so I need to update that.
Yeah.
But yeah, with all that.
Very nice.
Cool.
Very nice. All right. Well, that's it for our stream. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, very, very exciting progress towards Oteno, and hopefully the beginning of this stream helps explain a lot of that progress. I know it's annoying or kind of like could be condescending to just send a GitHub project board and be like, this is it.
Yeah.
But that is it. That all of the things on there need to be done. So yeah, that's where we're at. But it's coming together, and I cannot wait for the next Q&A to show you a little more progress. Maybe a lot of things like the new lobby system might be done by then. We'll see. So we'll have like proper spec back in place and everything. We can show that off more. And then I mean it'll just be Oteno before you know it. So I'm really looking forward to getting that release date confirmed and sent out to you guys as well. So thank you all so much for your patience as we do all of this. It's again a labor of love done for free because we're big fans and we want you guys to enjoy it. And yeah, all right. Well, is there anyone streaming? There's some map gather stuff. Wow, I had to click status 3 times to open it. I love you, Discord. Anyway, there's somebody playing B-Hop. So we'll go and raid them. Raid message also just being your favorite smiley face. Oh, what? That's not the username, my bad. I mistyped. All right, cool. Raid message just being your favorite smiley. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one next month. I know, Tom, you're likely going to be streaming some Pano and Lumper work as well, so feel free to follow us if you want to see some of that. But yeah, take it easy, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Laters.